Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, officially, I am the most concerned I have ever been for this country. Officially, the feelings of dread I've been having, the intellectual concerns I've been having that match that, the data coming in, just went from an 8 on the Richter scale to a 9.5. Top story at Infowars.com, linked in red. Chase Bank limits cash withdrawals, bans international wire transfers. And I am going to go in this afternoon, like I'm setting up an account with Chase, and check into this. But this, we've called the numbers, we've looked into this. This is indeed being done. Bigger than saying you can't pull cash out of the bank over certain limits after the 17th of next month. The bigger issue is saying zero foreign wire transfers. You have to understand, Chase Manhattan is the biggest shareholder in the private Federal Reserve. It is the main head of the Hydra. Of the dozen or so mega bank heads, there's 6 big ones. Its head is bigger than almost all the others combined. Goldman Sachs is almost like the tail and the guts and the brain to a great extent. But the big head is Chase. And I'll guarantee you this means nobody else is going to be allowed to do wires, because they wouldn't be doing this and losing the business. This signifies curtains. And again, they know how dumb the public is. They're going to use the fake government shutdown and default and all the rest of the stuff that's happened before as the smokescreen to bring us into global crises. Now it's becoming very clear what they're up to. Obamacare was never even meant to work badly. All of this is meant to scuttle the country. It's 100% clear. I'm 100% sure now. I was already pretty sure. And we know they're Cloward and Piven strategies and other stratagems, other gambits. But now it's 100% clear. And then let me give you the next big bombshell. These are the leaks coming in and contacts. Paul Joseph Watson on fire as usual with Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Crisis USDA orders states to withhold electronic food stamps. And I saw this at 6 a.m. this morning. And as soon as they opened up on the East Coast at 7 a.m., I began to call, and they told me there was a government shutdown, so I couldn't talk to any PR people. But I called the numbers involved, and indeed, this is a real document. And this came out October 11th, so last week. We got it. We're breaking it. They are going to stop sending food stamps, the digital money, the USDA that's over it, on the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, SNAP, and the country will snap, with 49 million people on this baby alone. And it also funds, through Health and Human Services, but it's the group that funds it, the school lunch program, at least part of it. So they call it a SNAP's lapse in funding. Now, of course, that's all standard essential funding, but it's just like cities won't fix potholes, will let police cars be falling apart, and ambulances and fire trucks not working, and they'll raise taxes over and over again and then hold you hostage or raise them again. That's what's happening, shutting down the monuments, the national parks that are even privately funded and have private lodges. In fact, it's in the headline here. Principal stops Pledge of Allegiance to remind kids of government shutdown. I mean, that's all this is. That's what's going on here. So we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to get into why this is such a big deal. I'm going to try to be calm. In fact, I am calm. This news is so ultra horrible, but I'm actually calm. I mean, we are talking about just an insane time, ladies and gentlemen, to be alive. I would be calling your friends and family and telling them to tune in right now, because people need to know what's happening. They need to get a heads up before it hits. Welcome, my friends. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, the 16th day of October, 2013. I am officially now more concerned and more, not even freaked out, because now I'm completely calm and focused, because we have absolute confirmation of everything we predicted, everything we broke down, everything that we surmised by projecting forward analytically, historically, what was going to happen, that our analysis has been absolutely spot on. Now, we don't deserve laurels or praise here, because about 95% or so, maybe a little less, over 90% of everything they're doing, the globalists have written white papers and documents on how they've done it in other countries and how they were going to do it here. I mean, Rand Corporation said they would put federal forces over local police, then privatize them, take everyone's guns, break up the family, put everybody in forced labor camps. I mean, that was the plan back in the 80s and 90s. We've printed those reports off, shown them to you here on air. For the National Stability Force, the National Stabilization Force. I've actually read through, over the years, thousands of pages in those different reports. I mean, I've actually sat there in horror with the Rand Corporation when I first ran into these in 1998, because I saw an article in the Austin American-Statesman saying that soon we wouldn't have liberties, there would be troops on the streets, federal paramilitaries, private contractors, and that terrorism was coming, and that it was going to be the pretext to roll this out. And the article was so thinly veiled that I went to the University of Texas Law Library and actually, because back then I couldn't find it online, actually pulled the Rand Corporation report. And I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off ever since, saying they're gearing up for martial law. They'll trigger a collapse with derivatives. They'll then take over. They're funding terrorist groups who they allow to attack us so they can then take our rights. And so we've gone through all those permutations. And now we're here towards the big D-Day New World Order invasion, basically. This is their D-Day because they see America and liberty as the bad guy. And it's on. Or to flip it back, I mean, maybe it's Operation Barbarossa, to use the Hitler analogy of the globalists being Hitler turning east. This is economic warfare. It has strategically been war-gamed in other nations, and they are rolling it out. Obamacare was designed as a torpedo to completely destroy the engine of 1/7 the economy, health care, and impoverish everyone else with a massive direct tax to offshore banks. A massive torpedo attack. And to federalize health care and restrict care and lower quality. They're shutting down the power grids everywhere. They're shutting down the privately owned, independently controlled, city, county, state-owned power systems. Power prices are doubling in many areas. They're up about a third nationwide the last 5 years. They are actually blowing our energy system. I mean, this is a military attack. They are chemically hitting the public, biologically hitting the public, radiologically hitting the public. They are attacking the family. They are breaking down the entire society. We are under total war. Total siege, scientific, and Cass Sunstein and John P. Holdren and all of them at the White House have all been writing white papers since the 70s on their battle plan for us. It's all public. That's how dumb they think the public is. And now it's clear. Obamacare was never meant to even work except for a direct tax to foreign banks. They've doubled the premiums. They're set to quadruple them in the next 3 years. It'll never even get to that. They're going to implode everything long before. It's just set to, no matter what it takes, they will send us into depression. While posing as saviors, giving select government money and contracts to insiders and to their friends. Just like when a third world country takes an IMF or World Bank loan, say for $5 billion, it is in the document, on record, that Western taxpayer money, so they're impoverishing you while they transfer the wealth, is given to select globalist corporations who then make sure no benefit goes to the outside population, and who will even demand to get this $5 billion, Brazil, in one case, you've got to shut off your city-run water system and turn it over to us. You've got to turn off these 5 power plants in your capital city, and you've got to take it from the new plants we've got coming online. And then once they do that, the politicians get the money. They run with part of it. They're paid off. They move to Switzerland directly. President of Mexico, Salinas, it doesn't matter. It's the same pattern. They move to Luxembourg or London. They take just maybe 100 million of the 5 billion in one case. And then they leave. They shut down the country. They double, triple the water prices. They double, triple the power prices. And then they shut everything down until everything is bankrupted. Then they come in phase 2, buy everything up, and they do it over and over again. Then they'll use a drug war when a country like Mexico's 50 years into this, to where that's the only economy they've got. They'll come in and then wage war against all the cartels they don't fully control, who were just paying them a kickback, a ransom. What was the term the Romans used when their vassal states? Tribute. They pay tribute to Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, on record. Hundreds of billion per bank per year. On record. They pay the tribute. And then that wasn't even enough. They said, run full extermination operation. Sully Castile exposed this 8 years ago on this show. They put him in jail for it. DEA agent blew the whistle. He said they're training CIA paramilitaries to train Los Zetas. No one had even heard that name then here. That they're going to launch a civil war in Mexico to destabilize the country, just like you fund both sides in Libya and Syria. And the globalists are doing that here. Man against woman, old against young, black against white. Why do you think Rachel Maddow gets up there every night with Al Sharpton and says, everyone at that World War II march was a racist? With no evidence. It's so that blacks, Hispanics, Asians, and others don't feel like they have a right to liberty. And so they then associate Bill of Rights, Constitution, due process with racism. It is psych warfare 101. Now, I'm looking for the news here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to try to remain calm. I already knew this was going on. I already told my wife. I already told the crew weeks ago. On record, I went and I said, we've got to make preparations now to basically in the future under collapse, if it goes this far, and it may go this far, holding us ransom, the globalists, to have armed guards here, basically, and just guard money to even pay our crew. And prepare for real collapse, folks, by design, blaming the shutdown. See, we're bankrupt if they keep raising the debt limit anyways, already losing our credit rating last year when they raised the debt. But if they don't hold the ransom and then do the debt ceiling, then it destroys confidence because the rating agencies run by the big banks that have maneuvered us there, they're now over our country. Ratings agencies, not even foreign countries. This is how we've been maneuvered into this. They lower our credit rating, which is what they want anyways. Get us into a $17 trillion debt. Sign us on to unfunded mandates of $70 trillion. That's top economists on average say about $70 trillion. That's our real debt, $70 trillion. The debt they've signed us on to is $644 trillion in derivatives. USA Today reported, and I concur with their analysis, our experts do, other economists. 644 trillion, that was 4 or 5 years ago. It's more like 800 trillion now that they say is our debt that's not ours. We could get out of the 70 trillion. It's going to be hard. We could deal with it. They want to have us so far gone, folks, it's over. Unless we just renounce all the debt, that will still implode things. So they've got us maneuvered with the Communist Chinese, the private Federal Reserve owning the most debt, then the Communist Chinese, then the Saudi Arabians, then the Bank of England, the Bank of Germany, Bundes. They've got us totally maneuvered into this situation, and they're now telling us everything's going to collapse because the Tea Party didn't want to bankrupt the country and go above 17 trillion and wanted to finally cut some stuff. And the Tea Party Republicans, the small core there, they're corrupt in establishment, but they get this will destroy the whole country, and they don't want to do that. That's one school that just wants to skim the cream off the top and business as usual. America's got to fall under the New World Order. And I've said this in a voiceover in the Obama Deception 2 that isn't even out yet. I may have to just rush it and put it out because of an emergency. I don't even know what I'm going to do at this point. I'm like shooting in all directions. Like the Alamo, folks, as it fell, basically, is the way I feel psychologically. Trying to just fire in every direction here. And what was the key point? That Obama is the closer. And I already had figured that out. And I'm sure of it now. They're going to close with Obama. He's like a baseball pitcher who's a closer at the end. He is the closer. They plan to bring the drawbridge down. This is it. This is it. This is definitely it. This is definitely it. They are torpedoing us on every front. We're like the gray ghost, the Lexington, on fire and exploding, and I hope we don't go under. But I'm telling you, folks, they're bombing us with everything they've got right now. The enemy is inside the gates. They are running us up on the rocks right now. And, of course, now it's coming out that they are going to seize it from your accounts, keep your IRS refund checks, and garnish your wages. It's all going to happen. They're going to do whatever they can to bankrupt the poor people of America who they've driven into total submission. And then the government will be there under emergency reorganization, do what we say, accept total taxes, total control, and we'll leave you alone. Why am I so freaked out? When we come back from break, these are the head articles, the top articles at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com right now. Chase Bank has now sent letters to its customers, and we've confirmed this, limiting withdrawals and banning all international wire transfers. Just like the TSA goes through your bags looking for silver coins now. These are internal cash controls. Remember they said the IRS is trying to pass a law that if they just say they don't like you, you can't leave the country? It's here. It's here. In fact, guys, print me that article from last year. They're doing an emergency takedown drill over all financial institutions today. That's an announcement. And here's the big one. The big one when we come back. The big one. Everything these people do is hold us hostage. That's the name of their game. They create the crises or exacerbate it, and they certainly don't let a good crisis go to waste. They use it as a power grab. And their evil is only surpassed by their arrogance. Like the head of the National Park Service coming out in a press release and in a speech, a press conference defending the shutdown of the parks, when they have most of their personnel still on duty, 80+%, harassing people and going and shutting down parks that they're not even normally at, opens commons areas, because they want you to feel the pain. It's all about running your life, making themselves the center of the universe. So the crisis is real because they're orchestrating it and have maneuvered us into it. People get confused. They go, well, wait, you say the debt limit's no big deal, but it is a big deal. Listen to me carefully, because I see the Democrats commenting on Infowars.com. Going, you wanted this, right-winger. Now it's happening. Now you'll learn. This will wreck healthcare. Then we'll get pure socialism. You won't get anything, idiot, unless you're going to be working in a slave camp at Foxconn, jumping into suicide nets with Al Gore laughing about his billion-dollar paycheck, you morons. You're not liberals, you're authoritarian followers. You're not even authoritarians, you're useful idiots for authoritarians. You'll find out, though, it doesn't matter. You'll get what you want, don't worry. The point is that they had the debt limit earlier for months and months, remember? Just a little while ago. And all they did was, it was this year, it was a few months ago. For, what was it, 3 months, they froze the debt limit and said, oh, we haven't gone above 16.3 trillion. We haven't gone above 16.3 trillion. They just did an accounting manipulation, and then it finally got passed. So they said, okay, no big deal. But see, now they're ready with the martial law drills, the government shutdown drills, and everything in place. Now they're ready, because there was a government shutdown, to blame it on that and to hold it up. And they have Moody's and Standard & Poor's and all the rating agencies saying America's about to lose its rating and about to collapse and will be no more. There'll be a new global order run by the IMF and World Bank with SDRs and the end of the dollar. And even if this doesn't happen this time, they're introducing the idea. Here it is. Washington hits the 16.7 trillion debt ceiling with $300 billion in new debt. Tomorrow, officially, it will be breached, because they're not going to just say, oh, it didn't go up. Remember Obama waved a magic wand for 3 months? Okay, you won't pass the debt ceiling? You want to have the crisis now? Nope. Our debt hasn't gone up. We'll use accounting gimmicks. Now they're not doing that. So, see, it's kind of like if somebody runs you over on purpose. You are being run over, but it's on purpose. Kind of like normally if somebody didn't want to jump the sidewalk and run you over on purpose, cars driving by you on the road wouldn't be a danger. The debt limit wouldn't be a big issue. Long term it is, because overall it brings us to being insolvent. In fact, it's not too far down the road, a few years now, max. But if someone jumps the curb and runs over you, see, now it's artificial, but it's a real problem. That's what I need to get through to the Democratic Party people. And again, I'm not defending the Republicans. When they were in love and, you know, with Bush, they wouldn't even have lovers tryst with him. Or spats. They love torture. They love secret police. They love being spied on because it was to fight the Muslims and the Al-Qaeda. And I was like, the globalists run Al-Qaeda. You people are idiots. This is all going to be used on you. Look at the internal training manuals. It's for the American people. Now they know. I mean, I guarantee you, if Bush had a third term or some Republican had gotten elected, if John McCain would have been elected, I mean, Democrats would be freaking out if they were arresting members of the press, torturing, torture ships, all this. But oh, it's okay because he's black. And then that's all. He's clearly more white than he is black. I mean, it's just totally sick, folks, how it all becomes a giant distraction. And then they use it for racial division and all the rest of it, and they are maneuvering us. And the Republicans come and say, okay, we'll give you all of Obamacare, everything else you want. And Obama says, I don't want that. It's your fault. We're going to lose our credit rating. And then meanwhile, they have all the establishment banks who didn't threaten to lower our credit rating for 3 months when it really went above the debt limit. No, now on cue that work for Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Chase, the whole 9 yards. Look at this. Look at the articles right here. They now have them threatening to destroy our credit rating. Look at these headlines. The sun is setting on the dollar supremacy, and with it, American power. All on purpose. Fitch puts U.S. credit rating under review for downgrade, RT. That's some of what we've got. They are maneuvering us by design. And you could give Obama anything he wants, he wouldn't go with it. Because the plan is to destroy America and break our back to then collectivize us. Let me put it in layman's terms for new listeners. There is a global private banking syndicate above the law of a diplomatic immunity who has taken over almost every country in the world that is establishing hegemonic planetary private corporate rule. By the way, that's a quote from Davos 2 years ago, that are demanding $100 trillion per decade in taxes from the nation states. So you pay 4 or 5 levels of government taxes. Now there's going to be a global government tax. It's always been there with the IMF and World Bank, but it was small compared to the aggregate. Now it's going to be the majority. And it's going to be digitally on everything, tracking and tracing what you do, and then gaming the economy for poverty and social control. That's called Agenda 21. This is scientific tyranny. Only way to describe it. A scientific dictatorship whose main programming, whose prime directive is exterminate. Set up world government, cut off resources, dumb down populations, poison food supply, reduce population. And many will say there are too many people, they're dumbed down, needs to happen. Even if you agree with that, you need to understand, we've done the math, and Rothkopf said only 6,000 people are a member of the inner elite. I agree with that analysis, the head of the Kissinger group. We did the math on that. It was 0.000000. It was 6 zeros and I think 42. I go from memory. So it's not the 1%. It's not that 99.99999999999999999999999999999999999999999. I mean, it goes on and on and on, folks. If you do the math, it's a whole bunch of nines before you talk about how many there are of us versus them. The elite are worried about the top 10% that are middle class that they got to get rid of because they might be a little uppity and have some savings. They might politically get involved, take government back. That's what the armored vehicles and Homeland Security's for. And there won't be many of those left soon. Don't worry. All of you that want everybody to be poor and miserable, you're very close to your dream. You like company? You are so close to all the prosperity that's left gone. So just keep waiting. Keep that hand out to Obama. Because as soon as they've bankrupted the whole country and rolled it over, they're going to turn everything off, okay? Get ready. The armored vehicles, the troops are trained. They're ready. That's one reason the military and police are waking up, because they're getting the training. George Washington's bad. The gun owners are bad. Christians are bad. And they're taking notes when people freak out and putting them in a database. I mean, this is secret police takeover, like a foreign government took over or space aliens took over. It's that hardcore. You're living in the middle of a science fiction movie. And you see what they've done to other first world countries like Greece. They just year after year, they bankrupt them, they squeeze them, they bring in taxes, then go, this will pay your debt. That's all fake and the banker's debt that the banker operative signed them on to, 90+%. Then they break it down worse and go, we didn't know doing that would make the place go totally bankrupt. Oh, we had to buy everything up for nothing. Okay, and they're just going to keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, and they'll bring in new leaders that'll promise to fix it, and then they'll only squeeze, and they'll bring in more leaders. We've got the enemy attack profile. We know who the globalists are. We know who their operations are. We know their plans. And, folks, cash controls. Two things happen when they drop the hammer on a country. They do it country by country, the globalists, so they can contain it and control it. And it shows you how powerful they think they are, that they're now going to go after Western Europe, Northern Europe, England, the UK, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, because they got to break the West. The West has built the world government because of our wealth and ingenuity, but now they're done with us. Now we've got to be brought down low. Coming up, Senate leaders announce agreement to end shutdown, raise debt. Top senator struck a deal just minutes ago to reopen the government and extend the federal government borrowing authority into next year on both sides of the Capitol, hoping for a quick action to reassure nervous financial markets. See how we were held hostage? So, again, give Obama everything he wants, increase the debt limit, total Obamacare, and push it out into February. And then, again, they'll hold us hostage again, over and over and over again. This is the plan that was set to go through, the February 7th deal. Government's funded through January 15th. And then they'll start it all over again. All over again. You see, maneuvering us towards the cash controls. I'm going to get to that. The intel from high-level sources is middle of next year is when they plan to drop the hammer completely. Now, there's one thing that can stop them. Total awareness. If you get this info that you're seeing and listening to right now, people watching us on Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.tv, folks listening to us on the radio right now, millions of you, if you take the data and say, take this video when it's on PrisonPlanet.tv tonight, the archive, and send it out to friends and family and explain it to them. I know it's not their favorite football game, you know, male soap opera or whatever. Or I know it's not your wife getting her hair done once a week. And I know it's not your wife getting her nails done. And I know it's all fun. I know it's fun to go to the football game and get your nails done and all the rest of it. I mean, I called my wife today, and I said, she works hard, does a great job. She was there getting her nails done and stuff. And I said, you need to stop doing your nails for a while. We need to get everything in gear now. And, I mean, I need to stop screwing around myself. And I don't really screw around, but it's time to get our butts in gear. I called my wife with this news right before the show, and I said, where are you? I said, I want you to go get some more cash out of the bank. We don't have much cash. And she said, well, I'm getting my hair done. And I said, fine. But I said, look, we've got to get our butt in gear. She goes, well, we do. We got 2 fences around our house. We moved to the country. We got weapons. We've got French bulldogs that are guards. I'm joking. I need some real guard dogs. You know, we've got neighbors that are informed. We got the storable food, blah, blah. And I said, we needed to get more. We need to stop worrying, myself included, about all this side corollary BS. We need to commit to working even harder to get the word out for everybody while we still have this platform. And I told her, I need your full support for me to work 7 days a week. And she always supports me. She's a great wife. It's just that I told her, I said, listen, I just want you to know I saw this coming so far off because historians and researchers saw it and a lot of experts. And if you know history, it's very clear. I said, but it's almost like you're blind and I'm blind. We have a blind spot politically because we're so accustomed and so acclimated and so ready for it that we're almost comfortable with it. And I don't want to just be comfortable with it. I don't want to have battle fatigue, psychological fatigue, and then just kind of lay down and not worry about it anymore. This is the time for maximum effort. Because of patriots in the last 60 years who knew about this plan, who saw it being done to other third world and old world countries, we have the enemy program. I've read stuff written by patriots in the 50s that has now come true exactly as they said. Cleon Skousen, naked communist, naked capitalist, 1950s. Read that book when I was about 10 because I looked at it at my grandparents' house so long. They had a bookshelf in the bathroom of all places. They just had bookshelves in every room. They'd read so many books, you know, a barn full of books. You know, they weren't TV heads. This is how my dad grew up, and I'd go there in the summers, and I remember reading The Naked Communist, and it was like reading space alien talk. I didn't know what it meant when I was 10 years old. Well, now I know it's all coming true. All of it. 1972, none dare call it conspiracy. All come true. Of course, you know his nephew, who comes on the show routinely, Joel Skousen. The point is, this is the real deal. This is the real deal. And currency controls and capital controls are the last thing to come, along with one other thing when they hammer a country. In 2002, Joseph Stiglitz left the World Bank as his chief economist, Nobel Prize winner. He said it was too predatory, too evil. He would not be part of this evil plan. And people said, what is the evil plan? He said, I signed non-disclosure agreements, but it's predatory, and it's designed to wreck society. And he said, that's not what I've signed up to do. More of kind of a real liberal who really wanted to redistribute wealth. And then magically 2,000 pages of documents appeared at the BBC, and before national security D-notice was issued to Greg Palast, about 100 pages or so got out. We got them. We published them. They went in newspapers around the world. Palast got them to us as the D-notice came through. And as the MI5 people basically stormed the offices, we were able to get them out in 2002. And the plan has a 111-point program. And one of the points is called the IMF riot. I want to get Greg Palast on next week if we can do it, guys. Investigative journalist, former federal fraud top investigator. That's how I got into all this. And the plan is you start currency controls. You don't let people get their money out. You pass regulations saying you can't leave if they just start a tax investigation on you. They're now saying Homeland Security will just do that without even the IRS being able to pass a law this year. Remember that? It's all happening. Where you can't leave. I mean, it's on. I mean, they're really doing it. And where you can't wire your money out of the country. They want to rob everybody. And then the next thing they do is they turn off the welfare checks on purpose. And they always blame the opposition that's trying to save the country and blaming the foreign bankers. I've watched this in Mexico, Brazil, Nigeria. I've watched it in my 20 years of research every month it's going on somewhere. There's an exact program. Well, Stiglitz, when he left, he says he didn't release the documents. We believe him. The documents came out where they have this program. Lower level economic hitman, John Perkins, we need to get him back on. John Perkins, you know, was working for the Pentagon and the CIA as a private contractor. And he would go into third world countries and go meet with the president and say, okay, you've already been given offers. You will take these investments. You'll take the $50 million we're going to give you in your Swiss bank account, or you're going to be dead. And usually they'd say, Senor, I don't want to hurt my people. They'd say, well, you better think about what you want to do, because when they pull me out, they send in the jackals. Those are the hit teams. You understand me? I guess I'm moving to Switzerland, senor. But my family has been here hundreds of years, and I wanted to be a good president. You do what we say, or you and your family, you know, you do what we say. And now they're going to do it here. Now they're going to do it here, and they're going to take your guns. Your kids are going to belong to them. They're going to be in youth brigades to get their check. Everyone will still get their little EBT cards, but finally what the conservatives have always wanted is you're going to have forced national labor. That's already being proposed and pushed just to graduate high school. Every year, until you're an old woman or old man, you're going to serve in government brigades. They've already beta tested them. I ran into the brigades yesterday on the streets calling the police on me because I dared go in a green belt that was closed because of rain. And they all are going to have their little card that gets its little creds on. They'll have a couple other jobs, but they'll need that. It'll all be actuary, but you've got to have that little card, that little National Homeland Security card that shows you've been checked and you're part of the team, and you'll even get to go through a faster line at the airport, and you'll be part of the team, and you know your parents will be proud of you. You'll have your little uniform, and you know you'll live in the room out back. And you know what? If your parents don't like it, you'll report them, and you'll become a captain. They'll actually let you into the actual armed forces of the domestic national stability force. John Johnson or whatever your name is if you do the right thing and report your father. And it'll be sad when they take dad away for re-education, but the guys will take you for drinks after. They're really going to be watching you to see if you're going to turn. But if you don't and go, you know, my dad deserves it, they're going to say, congratulations, Sergeant, you're now on the team. Congratulations. And that's how it's all going to go. I've studied it everywhere else, and they're coming. Of course, here's the deal. It ain't going to happen here like that, punks. We're going to take it all back, and you're all going to go to prison. And I'm not worried about what happens to me in the final equation. You're going to be beaten because we know who you are. We know your battle plan. You're not doing this in the dark like you've done in all these other countries. We've been here warning people and being laughed at. They're not laughing. No one's laughing anymore except the dumbest Democratic Party idiots who think they're part of the power structure. No one is laughing anymore. The military, special warfare is not laughing anymore. They saw what you do to them, blowing up the Navy SEALs. They know all the bin Laden raid was fake. They know everything. So you're going to do this at high noon out in front of everybody. Going to strike me down? I don't want to die. But you know what? I bet Colonel Travis didn't want to die either. I'm committed 110%, and it feels so good and so right. I wish I had 1,000 lives to give for humanity. I wish I had 1,000 lives. I wish I had 1,000 families to give for humanity. It doesn't matter. I'm all in. And we now need to go out to everyone we know in an emergency information warfare operation and exercise our First Amendment and hit the overpasses and have the open carries and warn the police and warn the military and put the government in check and let them know, join a side. The New World Order foreign banks that are going to wreck everything and destroy our prosperity and totally enslave us, or freedom and liberty that created all this wealth and prosperity. I mean, my goodness, it's not even hard to choose the right thing, except so many of you are cowards deep down inside. You're scared of the system. You know this stuff's real. You read the memos bad-mouthing gun owners and conservatives and libertarians and veterans, and you're scared. And you're scared of black uniforms. You're scared of the armored vehicles. It's all fluff, folks, of the enemy to make us feel weak. Become a man again and stop being so afraid. I mean, look what they're already doing. Crisis. USDA orders states to withhold electronic food stamps. And we have the letter, and we've called, and it's confirmed. We are breaking this at Infowars.com right now. They are preparing to turn the food stamps off next month. They've already done their little beta test out there. And if it all gets turned back on, they're going to do it next year. The point is, this has been done over and over again. They're just maneuvering us. They're drilling how to do this. They're testing it in America, because America's a big one to do this to. It's the empire. It's breaking what's left of the old republic, converting us to a pure imperial backwater to supply mercenaries. This is the conquering of America. Here's the other one. Chase Bank limits cash withdrawals, bans international wire transfers. The big part of that is and this is going out to all their customers, to all business customers. We appreciate your business and want to let you know of upcoming changes to Chase Business Select Checking. This was sent to customer in New Orleans, Louisiana. We appreciate your business and want to let you know of upcoming changes to Chase Business Select Checking with Interest and Chase Business Classic and Checking with Interest for your accounts listed above starting November 17, 2013. Now, folks, they are the head of the snake, Chase. JP Morgan, Chase. And let me tell you, they're going to do this. Means this is going to be done to every bank. They're not doing this unless it wasn't going to be every bank. They're not going to lose that business. You understand? And the Swiss just signed a deal to not basically take money, and 60 countries to track everybody's money and what everybody does. So they're getting rid of all that. Only the big mega rich are going to be above the law, like the French socialists who all have Swiss bank accounts with billions of euros, and they got exposed and nobody got in trouble. This is a total mafia government. So no more international transfers. That's shutting down business and getting your money out. And no more getting cash out. The globalists have seized the federal government completely with the private offshore Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve with foreign banks publicly wrote the health care plan to rape all Americans and lower the quality of insurance while they promised their poor followers that they would be getting goodies as they move to shut down the economy and shut down prosperity. So people don't really have a lot of opportunities because the collectivists can't have competition with their takeover. And they don't want collectivism to build people up. They want collectivism to get control of people to carry out population control measures. And that's all on record. The fount of modern liberalism 115 years ago in New York City, Margaret Sanger, all of them are on record to set up a fake liberal system to control the poor, to dumb you down and kill your butt. But you call in going, Alex, you're a racist. I want my free health care, even as you're gang raped and don't get free health care. As the free health care that was always there is now being done away with. I mean, it's just, and the establishment says, see how dumb they are. They need to be killed. But I will not sign on to this. The establishment ought to be smart enough to know when they, in the final equation, this system they've set up is not going to stop chewing people up. There could be two globalists in a high-tech ivory tower 20 years in the future. If they successfully carry all this out and say have killed everyone on the planet but themselves, hypothetically, they actually claim in internal documents about 1% will be allowed to live. They're people, the globalist, selected, folks from across the board who are of the finest specimens to be part of the new secret system. But they'll just keep killing each other and keep scheming and keep warring and keep trying to get whatever new high-tech life extension's been developed, and I don't want my rivals to have it, and wiping each other out. This is madness. This ends in the destruction of humanity. You maniacs must be stopped. They have a lot of reasons to reduce population, a lot of points they make that are legitimate, but it's all based on fraud and is all an excuse for them to play God. And meanwhile, here's RT, game changer. Swiss banks ditch secrecy and are now going to share with the OECD. That's the big banking cartel that after Europe was bankrupted, took over Europe, set up the EU. The Organization of Economic Cooperative Development. Always told you that's who runs the show. And that ties into all the big private mega banks who want to know where everybody's money is. And all the big insiders, they get to have their money in the banks on record, like the French socialists, and pay no tax, while they lobby for stay-at-home moms to be forced into the workforce. In Germany, they tell stay-at-home moms who don't want to work but are on welfare, you go out and you whore at least 8 hours a day. I'm not kidding. In fact, pull that up. German women told to become prostitutes. It's not just like here where the women who got laid off from government go to be prostitutes. They're already prostitutes for the government. Why not? Is the government's view. No, in Germany, they tell mothers, you know what, you're on welfare, your husband died or whatever, you know what, go out and get on the street corner, honey, and you bring in hard, cold euros to Uncle Kraut right now. You bring it in. I'm part German, so I can say that. Most of those slangs aren't even slangs. Kraut just means they eat a lot of kraut, sauerkraut. Let's go back to it. Let's show it right there. You found the London Telegraph. If you don't take a job as a prostitute, you can stop your benefits. London Telegraph. You get out there and you let 10 men climb all over you a day and enjoy it, honey, or we're going to take you off your welfare. Because we got to take all this tax money and pay it to foreign banks who don't even want the money. They just have it all set up to wreck your country. So, again, the big news, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com. It is national news. Chase limits cash withdrawals, bans international wire transfers, ultra, massive, huge. Starts November 17th. Crisis, USDA orders states to withhold electronic food stamps. Starting next month. They claim there's been a debt deal, but, oh, here it is. The sun is setting on dollar supremacy and with an American power. Because everybody knows we're bankrupt, we're done. The globalists have now completed their fraud. What we do is wake everybody up to the fact it's fraud, get rid of the derivatives, and arrest the criminals that were part of this like Iceland did.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
In the last 15 years since I learned about it, since the late 1990s, I've warned women that if they drink out of BPA when they're pregnant, it massively increases miscarriages, and that's one of the reasons they designed the plastics out of thousands of different types, made sure this was deployed worldwide. It also gives men cancer, women cancer, and also makes all mammals become sexually confused in their endocrine systems and makes male animals become attracted to the scent of other males. And the Pentagon also developed this. It's known as the gay bomb. Their answer to me, just telling you what they're doing to everybody, was to have everybody from Rachel Maddow to the young turds come out and say I'm a liar and a homophobe when I'm not even on my radar screen. But here it is, Fox News, BPA could cause miscarriage. There's no doubt about it. They knew, they did it on purpose. So there I am, I'm racist. I don't want women to have miscarriages. You know, and people their wives get pregnant around here. I just tell them, I get people's business. I see pregnant women at the store and I see them with BPA bottles. I go, listen, because I've learned this is the most effective. I go, listen, I do a lot of unhealthy stuff. Don't want to get in your business. I got 3 kids. And they go, oh, really? Because I used to just warn them, hey, that's got BPA. It'll poison you. You'll have a miscarriage. I do this all the time. My kids now actually like it. Used to, they hated it when I do it. I don't do a lot of the shopping, though. And I'm not saying I'm a hero. This is what you're supposed to do. And I go, yeah, I got 3 kids. They're like, oh, really? And I go, yeah, listen. That BPA, you better check that plastic, really linked to miscarriages, breast cancer, a lot of other stuff. She goes, and now they'll go, oh, I've heard of that. I do that 10 years ago. Nobody'd heard of that. Not saying I did this, but we're all part of it. And they actually listen to you. And now it's released. They go, oh, you're right. Is it the wrong kind? And it's like, hey, buddy, hurry up. What's the problem? And the person behind the counter will be like, all angry. But a lot of times now they're not angry. They're like, yeah, he's right. He's right. We've got a BPA-free section. So, I mean, I'm just a normal guy. Hey, that's a chemical weapon by the enemy. I'm just, wow, that's weird that I care about some woman. You know, we have a crew member here at the office who had a little baby girl, massively premature, and she's just gone through living hell, but she's made it. She's really cute. I've seen photos of her and the spirit in her eyes and everything that family's gone through. It's just hellish with the feeding tube and everything else. Now, I guess it's been about 5-6 months since the baby was born. And I'm not like the globalists, you see. I actually do ask every day, how's your daughter? I actually do empathize with having to go through that. I actually think about things like that a lot. And see, evil people my whole life have used the fact that I'm a real person and I'm loving. They've used my good side against me. But see, I've learned now to become a man where I'm also mean and aggressive to bad people. And now I don't just trust people right off the bat. So I'm loving and I have empathy for people. But for the empathy I have, I'm much meaner than even the most evil people who try to be mean. And that's what I'm saying to good people out there. It's time for you to understand that just because you're a sweet, loving, nice person, you can't just be sweet and loving and have empathy and the world's going to be okay and let the globalists use your empathy to sign on to their fraudulent programs. The devil's chariot is pulled by so many well-meaning people that just buy into the lie. Oh, well, he says he wants to give old ladies free houses and take care of poor people and give me free health care, and I want to buy into that because I want to believe that. And I think we should take middle classes people money and take care of poor folks. And to them, it's a moral high ground. They just want to say they're moral and then feel like they're better than you. And then that's the end of it. But every time now I see a pregnant woman, I tell her don't take vaccines. Sometimes their husband acts like they want to physically attack me. I just look at them with love and I'll say, listen, I got 3 kids. I don't mean to get in your business. We're not supposed to talk to each other. People used to talk to each other. This is normal human activity. Usually they thank me. Usually they're nice. Sometimes they get mad and go, all right, actually, you're right. Thanks a lot, buddy. But their first instinct is, another man's talking to me? Get away from me. I get my news from the television. It loves me. Well, you know, government defaults already happened twice in this country before. The reason it's all a fraud is that earlier this year, as you know, they had a debt limit. They couldn't get it passed. And so they just did accounting manipulations for more than 2 months to say that the U.S. debt was not going up. Remember that? I mean, everybody forgets that. So why were they making it a big deal this time? So that they can get Obamacare through finally, so that they can make everybody think that our lives depend on the federal government. And now the head of the Park Service, we're going to play a clip here in a few minutes, has come out and admitted that he was indeed in contact with the White House. No kidding. But that he made the decision. How many of these agency heads have we caught? Over and over and over again. How many of them have we caught with their back channel emails, like the IRS head and others who said she wasn't ordered by the White House to persecute people, and of course she was. And why hasn't she been indicted? For perjury, not just for persecuting people. They're getting away with classical hardcore tyranny. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 7. I mean, people like Hitler and Lenin and Stalin are 10s, folks. A 7's a big deal. I mean, this is a big, big thing they're getting away with here. And so now they say that they have come to a debt increase and government agreement. About 30 minutes ago, here's the headline out of the Washington Times. Senate leaders announce agreement to end shutdown, raise debt. Top senators struck a deal today to reopen the government and extend the federal government's borrowing authority until next year, February 7th. The federal government itself will be funded through January 15th, so 3 months. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, separately, they're using all of this as a drill as they deliver the armored vehicles, as they train the riot police with the local police. That's in the news. As they prepare to limit cash withdrawals and to shut off welfare. They're wargaming into the future because they know you go 16, 17, 18, 20, 25 trillion. It's already untenable. It's already more at that point than the GDP each year. It already is. Gross domestic product. And so they've completed our journey into enslavement. Now they just have to do the conversion, make sure the puppet government says that all that debt's ours when we're signed on to the $644 trillion that they claim is the U.S. share of global derivatives overhang of 1.5 trill. 1.5 quadrill, which is 1,500 trill. That number's 4 years old. The numbers have not been re-released since then, but mainstream media says 1.5 quadrill. USA Today, 644 trill, the debt of the U.S. Not our debt. Foreign banks made these derivatives, didn't even spend them, didn't even really use them, made money off the trading of them, off trade fees, have infected all the major pension funds, public and private, and are holding everyone hostage. They've already triaged. It's already sitting there, but they go, you're going to pay for it because they need that control over us. And they use the financial ignorance of the public to sell this. So again, as I said earlier in the first hour before this even happened, regardless, this is a big drill getting us ready for the collapse middle of next year, max 2 years from now. All of our financial experts concur, which now coming down. And you notice they're gearing up everywhere. Let me give you this new constellation of articles that ties into this as data points for you. Then I'll get into other news. Ahead of a big special report, we saw this, we noticed this yesterday. And I talked about it and showed it on TV for radio listeners. They can go to the archive of prisonplanet.tv and see it. Because most of our listeners, most people that listen or watch the show are just radio listeners, probably 95%, over 90%. The rest watch us on prisonplanet.tv and infowars.com/show. But Rachel Maddow told a whole bunch of lies. She said that the veterans came on Sunday and threw barricades at police. She said they attacked the police first. She said that the police weren't paid. We went and looked it up. Those police are paid. They're all paid. All the police on duty are paid. There's some administrative in D.C. For the district, but then also the federal police, the White House police, the Capitol police. They're all there, all essential, 80+%. And that's been on the news. Rachel Maddow lied and said that they were not being paid while they were being attacked. And then she kept cutting to the same video we showed last Sunday on a live feed and then clipped out and kept showing of the veterans being charged by riot police who then hit them with billy clubs, shoving them back, and then the veterans push back the young police. Guy looks like he's 75 and just, throws this one cop back, and the cops are shaking in fear. It's just ridiculous because they only hire trendies now, and these people, all they think about is protecting themselves and socialism and the great utopia. They're not warriors, folks. Police all day now only worry about their safety, which you should worry about your safety, but that's secondary. You should not have that job if you're shaking in your boots in fear. You shouldn't be a soldier. You shouldn't be a cop. It's ridiculous. But again, that's the nanny state. Get them in that mindset. Now they're not protectors except of their own butts. But the point is, so instead we have all these videos of them bullying women and people in wheelchairs. They would go around younger troops or guys that looked like, they had a little bit of sauce in them, had a can of whoop butt in their pocket, and they would literally go and then attack wheelchair people and shove them and hit them, and because that's what they do. They are just a pack of scum. And they always have special units now in every big city department that are the trendy police. who kind of just waddle around and, who was the sports guy that talks real effeminate? Not Bob Costas. No, the sports guy. He would like jump around and do jazzercise and all that early stuff. Richard Simmons. It's basically Richard Simmons in combat gear. And then going, I'm giving you a ticket for walking on the sidewalk on the edge of federal property at the National Mall. Oh, you're foreign students coming to see the Great Lakes? We're going to arrest you. Oh, you're coming to see the West Coast by Seattle? You didn't know this was federal property? I'm writing you all $125 tickets. Now let's get ready to do some exercises. I mean, it is amazing to see the rule of the parasite, the rule of the coward, the rule of the trendy. They just showed a clip of Richard Simmons. No offense to him. Nothing against how he talks. But he's not out there trying to be a commando. I mean, that's really the difference here. It's just the affront of them coming over. And then Rachel Maddow, this is coming up at the bottom of the hour, Rachel Maddow comes over and keeps showing the clip of the old guy shoving the cop back. And she goes, they attack them with no pay. And she knows she's lying. Everything she says is a lie. I mean, it's amazing to see 100% lies. I mean, it's hard to just be a pure liar. I mean, it takes skill to invert reality. But that's what the enemy does, and they are an enemy group. They see us as the enemy. They know we're the enemy. Their white papers are out, folks. These are military operations. I'll guarantee you, Rachel Maddow and her top producers and the people at that facility hold rank in the New World Order, hold corporate and many times intelligence rank. It's come out of Anderson Cooper's CIA. I mean, most of the top anchors and people you see on CNN, MSNBC especially, are agents of foreign powers. I'll tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, these are agents of foreign powers, agents of the foreign banks who get taxpayer money with stimulus money and the rest of it, worse than NPR, and they're up there waging war, editing video of the cops ramming into vets. And the vets, notice she has no audio, too, because the vets are like, we're peaceful, we're peaceful. And they keep ramming them, so they push them back, and then the police urinate, basically, on themselves and start shaking. You mean we don't just get to attack people, and then nothing else comes back? It'd be like if they had UFC for trendies, and they walk into the ring, Simmons, walks into the ring in a diaper, and then whoever he's going to beat up is chained up in a chair, and then he comes up and starts whacking him with a baseball bat, going, trendy, trendy, I mean, that's what they think this is. We ought to do UFC for trendies. You have, like, some huge top El Guapo or something, at his peak or whatever, and chained up, can't even move, hands are chained down, and then just have Simmons just hop around, maybe with a small hatchet. Like whoever the top UFC guy is, one of those monkeys where they chain them down and beat the top of their head out and then eat the brain live. And just have trendies dance around in tutus with small hatchets, hacking whoever the toughest person is in the head. And then they all just eat their brain while troops with machine guns guard them. And then have temples of weakness and fraud. Have temples of worshiping scum. Have temples of worshiping the destruction of men and women and children. And just temples to failure. Just where the weakest rule everything and just dominate anything beautiful and good. How's that sound? Does that sound like a good thing? I'm telling you, it'd be big. You could have whoever the top UFC person is, look up whoever the top heavyweight is right now, chained down in the middle of the octagon, and then have like people in tutus and stuff prance around going, with little tiny hatchets just hacking them in the head. I'm telling you, that would be the #1 sport for trendies, because that's what they want. They want to chain America down, chain our families down, chain our industry down, chain our jobs down, and then just take their time prancing around all over us. So Rachel Maddow can edit the video down. And Rachel Maddow can say, bisphenol A is good for you. Don't listen to Alex Jones. He's a homophobe. Drink your bisphenol A. Miscarriages are good. Oh, it's trendy. Oh, it's so trendy. Oh, it's so trendy. Alex Jones is deeply racist. Stand behind the Boston bombing. Deeply trendy. That's all they are, is a bunch of wimps who want to take the country over, who convinced us to stand down. Be friendly. Don't be racist. Let us take over your life and run your kids. Your kids belong to us, MSNBC. And we're supposed to go, oh, yes, here, I don't want to be racist, run my life. And they're like, good. Forward riot police, set up the checkpoints, take their bank accounts, stand by, build the FEMA camp, Don't be racist now. Hands out. Let's put the handcuffs on. Get the hatchets ready. We've always hated you, and now it's our time to run everything. And if you don't let me do it, you're racist and bad and aren't an intellectual. We'll be right back with the planned implosion of the economy by design and the setup to not let you have your money out of your bank account being announced. Waging war on corruption, crashing through the lies and disinformation. Coming up, the special report. Again, Rachel Maddow's not that important. She barely has any viewers. She's imploding on a monthly basis, a shadow of her former shadow politically. But it's important to understand how the kleptocratic dinosaur media manipulates. That's why Darren McBreen, myself, and Adon Salazar put together the report that's coming up at the start of the next segment. Especially if you're a TV viewer, you've got to get this out to people. For radio listeners, we're going to be posting the article in mere minutes as we premiere it here at Infowars.com with a red link dealing with Rachel Maddow caught framing veterans for violence. And it's just like they got caught editing the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman audio to create racial division. This is an enemy operation. I don't just say that. They're savaging their enemy, the American people. And we need to expose this Tokyo Rose for what they are. All right, let me get into the serious news because I kind of went off the deep end there making fun of Richard Simmons. But, I mean, that is the society where we get tied down and a bunch of Richard Simmons in police uniforms get to, take over and taser us to death whenever they feel like it, just so they can have some fantasy land of power. I mean, really, cowards don't need power. They turn into tyrants. Men of honor and strength would never abuse their power because it's embarrassing to someone who's honorable. That's why it's always scum that ends up running everything, because they have a desire for it. But excuse me, I'm starting to just think about the scum here for a minute. I need to focus. Here's the big news up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com that is of the maximum import. Chase Bank lifts cash withdrawals, bans international wire transfers. Ladies and gentlemen, Nazi Germany didn't even do stuff like that till, what, like 1940. I mean, this is so huge, and I will guarantee you they wouldn't want to lose that business, all that business. I mean, I wire Paul Watson. He's a contractor. I wire him money every month. I don't do that through Chase, but I do it through a Texas bank. But the point is, I'll guarantee it's going through some big wiring service that goes over the back of Chase. I mean, this is a big deal. We have the copy of their announcement, everything, and no one else is covering it. Oh, hi, neighbor. You're not going to be able to get your money out of the country. And the TSA, if you have 5 silver coins, will confiscate them. There's no law, neighbor. Oh, hi. We're just being friendly here. You're not allowed to get any of your money out of the country. And then here's another one. Crisis. USDA orders states to withhold electronic food stamps. And a new article came out about more food stamp problems. And Kit Daniels wrote a story, Food Stamps Dependency Riots Lead to Martial Law. But here's the Paul Watson article up on PrisonPlanet.com. Crisis. USDA orders states to withhold electronic food stamps. And by the way, this came out this morning, and the letters from yesterday. But the point is, we're breaking this, is that they're still gearing up for it. See, all these shutdowns and all this is about getting you ready for it. Just like Carney, the White House carnival barker. Remember, the former White House chief of staff said, we don't let a good crisis go to waste. They've clearly been with the big globalist banks and outlets threatening the credit and faith of the country. When they couldn't get the debt increase months ago, they just froze it, even though the debt was going up. This time, they hyped it. They introduced that. Obama, a week ago, introduced that. That was the signal. Well, if you don't do the debt increase, we'll get welfare checks, things will collapse. They began all this talk in the press with the communist Chinese laughing at us, saying America's bankrupt and using that for state propaganda. He started all this, and then now Carney comes out and says, how dare the Republicans. And again, folks, I'm nonpartisan. Everybody knows that. The Republican Tea Party is totally in the right on this, trying to save the country. We will go bankrupt by their system in the next year or so. With accounting, maybe 2 years, with accounting manipulations, if they continue to have a debt bigger than the GDP. I mean, we are being absolutely destroyed. And they're saying, no, the reason we have debt problems is because there's not enough debt. Remember, Obama said raising the debt doesn't raise the debt. So when we come back, first, I have Carney said this just minutes ago at a press conference that well, he has a Freudian slip. He says, well, we use this as leverage. I mean, they use it as leverage. We're not going to let them use it as leverage. And they just sit up there knowing their constituents, on average, are just helpless TV heads who were set in front of the television from birth in crap-loaded diapers with snot and flies all over them, with their parents beating them with coat hangers, drinking fluoride, eating GMO, a miracle they're even alive, walnut-sized brains, I'm serious, and just helpless, just begging Obama for goodies. I feel so sorry for them. They are walking dead. We'll be right back. It's trendy. We're not scientific killers. We're liberal. Look, we're wearing pink shirts. Hi. This isn't psych warfare. Camouflage. We're not eugenicists. We love you. We want your soul. And we want your children. We're the type of people that like to wreck things. And we're almost in control. And once America's been taken over by us, once we've fully got you behind us, we're going to carry out the eugenics worldwide. And then you'll never be able to stop our world government based on human exterminism. We're not on power trips saying we're going to merge with the computers and become God. We are God. And we want to destroy you because we're trendy. Ha, ha. See the little twinkle in our eye? All right, folks, I thought I'd make that announcement here, play that clip that was sent to us by the Obama administration. They wanted to just, have some equal time. They're bringing back the fairness doctrine in talk radio, where you can't even have political views, only the government propaganda, which is a political view. The end of the First Amendment, because it's racist. I thought we'd play that Homeland Security announcement where they're being honest with you. Pentagon said 2 months ago that they're going to start being honest with you about the globalist overall plan. So we had like a minute-and-a-half little promo there. They want your soul. They want to kill you and your family. So there you go. Drink more fluoride. They love you. Let me get serious here. Yeah, I mean, I should have pointed out that EBT is mainly run by Chase. They are the government. And they run the vast majority of those and the whole welfare system, and they run it out of India. So you can't even have Americans employed to have a welfare system. That goes against bringing you to your knees and teaching you that old Chase cares about you and your family, and that you won't be able to wire money out of the country or get money out of the account anymore. They will decide from time to time how much you'll be allowed to have out. And they said that it'll change each bank statement, too. It's just, your money's theirs. I mean, I've already gone before to get like $1,000 out of the bank or $2,000 for a trip as petty cash. And literally, they act like Al-Qaeda has entered the building at a Texas bank. And you go to Bank of America or because we used to have an account there many years ago, because that was an account I had as my first bank account. Well, I had another bank account in Rockwall as a kid, but that was my first bank account in high school into college was a Bank of America my dad set up for me and put a little bit of inheritance money in, a few $1,000. And, I mean, you try to go in and you try to get money out of there, you are the scum. Because you are the prisoner. You are the bad guy. You are the person that cannot be trusted. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Print me the article that now has gone up on Infowars.com, the new one. I'll show it to you if you'd like. I was, during the break, wanted that one. It's the new story, the report that's going to come up with Darren McBreen, the Don Salazar article. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Because I just need that in my line of articles to stay on target when I get to that report in just a moment. But, again, Chase says this is coming in November, and you better know they wouldn't do this unless everybody else was going to do it. So, and why not? Americans put up with their kids being taken away from them at the airport and having some weird guy with a pedo mustache and a pot belly, who's got a pedo bear insignia on his arm, grab their genitals. I mean, why not? They love taking baby diapers off. So, I mean, why not? I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, you'll put up now with TSA saying if you make a joke at them, when they make jokes at you, I've had it done many times, is they insult you. If you talk back, you're going to jail, scum. They will teach you because of the al-Qaeda threat that their bosses run publicly. That's what I always tell them when they're like, shoes off, get over here. I'm like, you know the government runs al-Qaeda. They're like, oh my gosh, it's Alex Jones, get out of here, just go through the line. Oh my gosh, literally, that's always the voice. Now, some of them, they're going, look, it's just a job, we hate it. We know it's all bull, Alex, give me your signature. My wife's a huge fan. I'm going to quit working here as soon as I can. I'm looking for another job right now. We wish we could unionize. It's horrible. We know the radiation's bad. That's the difference that I get. But let me just now, since I mentioned it, go to the Jay Carney press conference that's ongoing, where he had a little Freudian slip, and then we have the clip of the former White House Chief of Staff, Rahm Emanuel, telling you what he really thinks. Here it is.
I understand what you were saying about there's no winners, but clearly the White House and the President wanted to establish a new norm. No reopening of the government with what you consider to be partisan legislative attachments, avoiding default with the same approach. Mm-hmm. Has that strategy been vindicated, and you believe 16 days of shutdown was worth that effort to achieve that? What
the shutdown was wholly unnecessary, and this was a manufactured crisis. The President's position from the beginning was that Congress ought to pass a continuing resolution at existing funding levels. He made no requests associated with that, demanded no concessions in return for signing a legislation that would extend government funding to allow for broader budget negotiations. So,
but he did want to push back on the idea that you could use either one of these pieces of these deadlines as levers. Has that been
the President
vindicated?
believes that it was the right position to take, and it remains the right position to take, that especially when it comes to the full faith and credit of the United States, that neither he nor any of his successors can allow a dynamic to take root where raising the debt ceiling is used as leverage, or the refusal to raise the debt ceiling is used as leverage to try to achieve some partisan policy objective.
All right, that's enough. Folks, the globalists that run this country, that have hijacked this nation, that literally have it captured and occupied, and that's not rhetoric. They brag about that publicly. Look it up in the Financial Times of London. They laugh at us. The communist Chinese are laughing at us, calling us their slaves right now in the news today. We're now lectured by the IMF, the World Bank, by Chase, that lobbies for more welfare, to administer all their little slaves that they're sending credit cards to get into debt. This is the political takeover. And he says that that they don't use debt, but that the Republicans were using it to hijack and hold people hostage, when they are maneuvering us towards bankruptcy, and the globalists use debt limits to always hold countries hostage, to get them deeper and deeper under globalist control until they raise your taxes sky high to bankrupt you on purpose, not to give money to the bankers. The bankers control all the fiat money. And then all the poor people go, we give trillions to foreign banks, I can have some free health care. There's got to be something free for me. You know you want a piece of it, Alex. Just join the team. I mean, I'm tired of being poor. You don't get it's the system that engineered itself this way, that wants to make it worse on record to make you dependent. You people don't listen. And that's why you're in such bad shape. Now they want to make it where those of us that are smart enough to still know how to be successful in a system like this, they want to shut that down too. They don't like people like me having crew members. They don't like small businesses and operations and media groups. Everything is written and set up legislatively to shut it down by the big boys who want combines and oligopolies and monopolies on record. That's what we're facing. Do you get it? The people that wrote this, Obama supporters, are the most predatory, vicious, deceptive, wicked people that when they have their ways with the population, Halliburton got caught. All over the world, when they have a captive population like Iraq, loading people on C-130s and flying them to foreign countries to work as slaves in brick factories and textile factories. I mean, real slaves. Do you understand? Every one of these globalist companies doesn't just want the cheapest labor. They don't want the public getting anything. You don't get into their club unless you hate the general public and want to dumb them down and hurt them and see it as a war against them. But those guys then use the very mass of unwashed, dumbed down, spoiled, lazy, fluoride head people as a weapon against their enemy, the virtuous middle class, the artisan class. They are at war with us because they know historically we are their downfall. Now, you better wake up to this. In Rome, when Rome became corrupt, they knocked out the middle class. It's happened everywhere. Pol Pot knocked out the middle class. The communist knocked out the middle class wherever they were at. Doesn't matter. Fascist, knock out the middle class. And I'm here talking to the dumbos out there. I'm begging you. I know you're listening to just admit you're morons. I mean, I shouldn't talk to you like that. It's just that you got to admit you've been conned. You signed on to a Nigerian chain letter. You got scammed. Just admit it. Or as each stage of the crisis gets worse, you'll just beg even more like baby birds for Obama to vomit offal into your mouth that they stole from somebody, some third world country or the middle class. And that's only long enough to keep you in line for them to make sure they take out their enemy, the middle class. But for a lot of trendies and people that are anti-success, you guys are like, yeah, you bet, let's bring it all down. You know it's true, but you decide to join it nihilistically as if you have control over it because you accept it. Let's go to this other clip and then to our big top story today, premiering this report put together by Darren McBreen, myself, and Adon Salazar. Let's go to the head of the Park Service in a smarmy little way, covering for the White House and going, well, I did talk to them. Yeah, don't make the mistake of lying like the IRS lady, the IRS head of the tax-free groups. Admit you talked to him like, I'm going to shut him down. Is that a problem? You do whatever you think's needed there, sweets of cake. They've had other top Park Service people say they were ordered to make life miserable by this guy. And this is the way they run their life. And boy, isn't this guy a carbon cutout of what you would have imagined the head of the Park Service looked like?
I think nothing has resonated more with the public than to see an open-air monument such as the World War II Memorial. And
was that Richard Simmons' brother?
The Martin Luther King Memorial. It just seems that common sense did not prevail. Did you... Now, you said you take full responsibility for that action. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
And did you discuss this with the Secretary of Interior, Jewel, at any time?
Yes, I did.
And did she...
Look at him closing his eyes when he talks.
You didn't discuss it with anyone in the White House?
Oh, I'm in a commando outfit.
Did you?
In several times...
You know what he's thinking about right there?
On the phone with the White House... I presented
you know
with the Secretary my decision, but it was never the reverse. So there was never
So you discussed with officials in the White House your action, and you also discussed it with her. Now,
so Park Service Director, I discussed closing monuments with the White House. They had denied that earlier. Yes, I did, said the director when I was going. He discussed the closures with the Secretary of the Interior Department. You didn't. He almost talks like that Miss America lady. It was like, such as Americans helping. Did you discuss with anyone at the White House? Did you, ask the congressman? And the director, Dr. Dum Dum, went ahead and said that he did. Okay, let's get serious now and shift gears into the report that is up on Infowars.com. If you are a radio listener, you can go to Infowars.com and get this article. It is very important that everyone get this article and send it out to your friends and family because it catches them red-handed framing the veterans and engaging in pure lies. And it's not about Janet Reno's daughter, Rachel Maddow. It's about the fact that they're so deceptive and are so skilled. She's actually like a Olympic-level athlete of deception. She makes Bill Clinton pale in significance, or at least her teleprompter writer did there at the government-funded MSNBC. NBC edits video to frame veterans. Here is the Darren McBreen report. And obviously the video is much more powerful, so go to Infowars.com and watch the report, and then get it out to everyone you know, because this frame-up of vets is really powerful when we're able to expose it and like a judo move, throw it back at them. Here it is.
Last night on MSNBC, Rachel Maddow covered the Veterans March that took place over the weekend. And in stereotypical mainstream fashion, she deliberately distorted and falsified the facts surrounding the protest. First, she made it look like the Veterans March was organized by the Tea Party, led by Ted Cruz and Sarah Palin. And she said it was a small demonstration, and once again pulled out the race card, insinuating that the veterans rally was somehow racially motivated.
Vaguely threatening but incoherent is a patented thing with these folks. It has never, ever held them back. Like, say, this guy who brought the Confederate flag to the rally to wave it in front of the White House. Yes, an African-American family lives in that house now. But hey, I think the idea here was more about waving a Confederate flag in front of a house where a black family lives than it was about anything specific related to the Marines.
And of course, they kept showing footage of this one guy who was out there with his Confederate flag, but failed to show the incredible amount of veterans who showed up, including, yes, black veterans. And that's because most everyone is extremely outraged right now about the Obama administration putting up barricades and denying veterans access to our nation's memorials.
Y'all need to perform the Constitution you took the oath to do. These veterans served our country. They put their life in line on the line.
They have MPs out with the police giving tickets to veterans.
You're going to block their access to the memorial? Surely you got more dignity and respect than that. You're going to spit on their graves as well when they die?
But Rachel Maddow's lying to her audience got worse. She claimed that the veterans, for example, were throwing the barricades at the White House, which did not happen.
They then picked up the barricades that were around the closed World War II memorial and dragged the barricades over to the White House and hurled the barricades at the White House.
But the big lie was when she told her audience that the police were not getting paid.
Then the protesters went home, so the police, who through no fault of their own are working without being paid, the police had to pick up those barriers, drag them back to where they came from, and keep working their shifts without being paid because of the shutdown that these folks made happen.
Wait a minute. Let's stop right there. Notice they keep showing a video loop of a veteran who is pushing one of the riot police backwards. What MSNBC failed to show their audience was the fact that it was the riot police who lashed out at veterans first. You can clearly see this cop pushing the veteran before the veteran pushes back. MSNBC deliberately edited that part out of the video. And as far as the cops not being paid during the shutdown, it's on record that all patrol and riot police are seen as essential. They're all on duty and they're all getting paid.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little backup.
So the police that are getting yelled at there are working without pay while the shutdown goes on.
God, that woman's incredible.
And working without pay includes now getting screamed at for being at work.
Is there any threat? Is there any law being broken?
They have extra police out
and there
at
were a
all
lot
the
of World
facilities.
War II veterans that showed up for the march over the weekend, and no World War II veteran should be denied access to the Iwo Jima Memorial or the World War II Memorial or to any other memorial for that matter. And the fact that they were denied access should be a wake-up call to us all. The enemy is no longer foreign, it is domestic. So remember, you can't trust MSNBC, you can't trust Rachel Maddow, and don't fall for the race card. Those memorials belong to us, each and every one of us. And as long as they're out there putting up barricades, it's up to all of us to get out there, support our veterans, tear those barricades down, and send a clear message to Obama that we're not about to back down. I'm Darren McBreen for Infowars.com.
All right, there you go. And the full report without my commentary is up on Infowars.com right now. It's up on Infowars.com right now and PrisonPlanet.com. Report, NBC edits video to frame veterans. And what's so sick about this is people say, why do they keep calling anybody that doesn't want total government or wants to keep our guns or actually knows Obamacare is a scam racist? Because they know, you know, that isn't true. They are trying to brand it for minorities, who are really the majority now all put together in this country, that not turning your guns in, not having socialist health care that's a scam, is racist. So that black folks don't feel like, or Hispanics or others, they can come out to a Tea Party, or they can come out to a pro-gun rally, or they can come out to a demonstration about the memorials being shut down when the rest of the memorials aren't, and the illegal aliens can go have demonstrations there. Do you understand that, folks? I mean, there have been demonstrations out at the Grand Canyon about it being shut down by the local business owners of all race, colors, and creeds. It has nothing to do with black people or whatever, but they inject that so that people don't come together and don't feel like liberty is theirs. Oh, that's only for old white people. I don't want a right to have a gun. I want to live in Chicago or New York or D.C. where, you know, I've got a right as a black person to live in a black city and not have my guns. Don't you see you're in a black city where they push abortion on you 24/7 a day, and you don't have a right to own guns, and they pump gangster culture in to make sure everybody kills each other, and then use examples of areas they run and control to tell all the other areas of the country, oh, look, turn your guns in. People owning guns made people get killed in Chicago. The NRA's the new Klan. And they know full well when the Democratic Party puts that talking point out on MSNBC, CNN, Fox Sports, Bob Costas, all of it, they know full well the NRA was founded mainly by abolitionists at the end of the Civil War to train blacks how to use guns. They know that full well. That's the sick joke to them, you see. That's what's so incredibly luscious about these lies to the globalist is that it's so incredibly over the top. The lies are such a wall of fraud that the average person who's working 2 jobs, going home, the average person works a job or 2. You get home, cook dinner for the kids, do laundry, pick up dog crap, you know, go visit mama in the hospital, go get groceries. You're going to bed at 1 a.m. You get up in the morning, you just don't want to hear about all this. And then meanwhile, you want to go watch a football game. I don't blame you. Go have some fun. While you're doing that, they are ruining your future. Look at how they sold. Hey, women all go to work. Women were already going to work if they wanted to. Hey, you need to show that man. The first feminist newspaper ads were smoke cigarettes, show men. And the women went out who weren't smokers on average and smoked cigarettes. They paid in the 20s and 30s to have Hollywood women smoke cigarettes. Sometimes the whole budget of the film, famous films, are cigarettes, showing women, the most beautiful women in America, smoking cigarettes so that they could sell them cigarettes. And they said, oh, go to work. See, back then you had to pay a man a wage so that if he wanted to, he could raise 4 kids and have the wife pay for everything. And then she could deal with the kids all day and run the show. She was the family. She, on average, made the decisions on what got bought. The old days, bring the paycheck to mama because you're going to work. You're working 15 hours a day a lot of days in dangerous work and stuff. You don't have time to mess with it. Here's the money, mama. And they were a family. They said, oh, that's backwards. Women, you ought to be ashamed if you're not there working. And now you work for the government. And now in Germany and Europe, they say, women, if you got to go out and become a prostitute. They order women. They go, you're attractive. This is in the news. In fact, I'll pay you right now. Get on the desk. That's Germany. There's the headline. If you don't take a job as a prostitute, we can stop your benefits in Germany. And they do it to the good-looking women. And they're now telling men, well, you're 18 out of high school. You don't have a job. Son, you ever done gay porn? That's what the government needs you to do right now. I mean, and this is your liberation. This is your liberation. The government's your husband now, and he's not your husband. He's a pimp, and he's going to tell you what to do. There's no more family. There's no more nothing if they have their way. They've already wrecked almost every group out there. By the way, I haven't plugged anything yet today. We fund ourselves, not like MSNBC or NPR with taxpayer money. We fund ourselves with citizens supporting us. I did research for 2 years, deeply a year, and found from all the medical doctors, scientists, nutritionists that nascent iodine was the way to go, but that you couldn't find it. And all the competitors we went with, it tasted horrible and made me feel bad. And I talked to top doctors, and they said, that's probably not real nascent iodine. I found the one laboratory that makes it, Dr. Group. It's all sold out. It'll be 3 weeks till we get more. It's in a non-GMO, organic vegetable base, glycerin base, and it's amazing. And all the details, the facts, the info, it's at InfoWarsLife.com. Everybody who's ordered, we've shipped it out, or the last few orders, they'll be shipped out. We're a little bit behind trying to ship it all out, but it should all be shipped for everybody that's already ordered as of now in the next week or so. Most people have already gotten it, but a little bit, we're still getting the last third out. We sold out the last bunch that came in. We're doing a huge run, biggest run yet. They had to even put in another bottling machine to be able to do it. It's a small place that's been around 40 years, but top rated. We won't have more for 3 weeks, really about 2, but I'm saying 3 weeks because then it takes time to ship it out. If you want it, pre-order it. It's on back order, InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield, nascent iodine dietary supplement in the atomic form that blocks the uptake into the thyroid. Details at InfoWarsLife.com.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Folks, we have received from a very well-known gentleman, I'm not going to say his name yet, we're doing the report right now, I think he's on the nightly news tonight, a document he got through lawsuits with the loving TSA. You know, they declared national security on Alex Jones and Matt Drudge and others that it's been admitted are in their internal documents as enemies. Don't joke or they'll arrest you. But now, we're going over the documents right now. TSA and their internal documents say that they're not really for terrorism, so don't worry about that. Of course, the government runs that. It's about currency controls. It's about controlling the slaves, which we already knew. You can look at what they do and tell what they're for. It'd be like if a dog ran up a tree and was barking at a coon and looked like a coon dog. I go, is that a coon dog? Well, of course it's a coon dog. I mean, it's like, it'd be like if you're looking at Marilyn Monroe in her prime, Norma Jean, and you ask, is that a bombshell blonde? I don't know. It'd be like looking at this government saying, is this a big, fat, stinking, rat-infested tyranny of control freak scumbags wanting to absolutely enslave us on sicko power trips? Buddy, if it ain't, there's never been one. I mean, this is the biggest, nastiest, slobbering, stinkiest, vicious, most pus-filled, giant, maggot-infested creature I've ever seen in my life. So that's some of the news we've got. Some of the news up on DrudgeReport.com. Next, Obama vows immigration push. Mercy. Reid McConnell reached deal. White House, no winners, except Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan. They brought you tonight's jokes, and no matter if you laugh or not, they still laugh. Remember Obama said that? Viral photo of public sex act at university sparks rape allegations. That's just some of the news we're going to be breaking down. Drudge reports that even Cruz folded and vote for it. And then the flashback of Cruz saying life or death. You know, what happened is the Republican leadership that's patriotic realized that they wanted to wreck the whole country and have the debt limit go down so Obama could basically become a dictator. And that if they let him have his Obamacare now, he can get the blame for it. And I got to say, Mitch McConnell first said that a few weeks ago, and I wasn't sure if I agreed with it. We war gamed that idea. Ron Paul last Friday agreed. He said, no, that is the way to go. We've tried to beat it. It's already going to go down. It's going to go down with debt increases. We've got to fight it each time, but when they hold us hostage, at least this time, you've got to let them have it because the constituents are too stupid. We have to let Obamacare hurt them first. And so I'm not here apologizing for Ted Cruz. I'm just saying I myself, as of last Friday, said, Ron Paul, isn't it really time to agree with Mitch McConnell, as much as I hate saying that we've tried to beat this. We're trying to do the moral thing. They won't let us stop. Maybe we can cue that up later in the next hour. I mean, we're already in the next hour, but find it towards the end of the interview with Ron Paul. It's like 20 minutes long. And he said, no, I think that's right. I fought healthcare takeover. You fought it. We tried to stop it, but now we're just going to get the blame. Let them have it. It's going to fail. Let them have it. Let it be their baby. Now, Obama's just going to blow something up and blame it on patriots before he gets the blame anyways or start a big war. But, I mean, maybe that's wrong. Maybe we should open the phones up in overdrive or something, because I got pharmacist Ben Fuchs coming on with some medical news. But what do you think about this? I mean, it is true. Even Cruz folds, flashback, this is life or death, he said. He said, I won't delay debt bill. And that's because Obama says the Republicans are holding us hostage. It's the opposite. He's trying to bankrupt us, keep raising the debt ceiling, cut nothing, only increase, give trillions more to foreign banks, rape everybody with Obamacare. A few good Republicans try to hold it up. The Republican leadership goes after them. Ted Cruz tries to stand against it. And then we're going to get the blame as libertarians for what they've done. So fine, have your disaster. Have it. It's yours. On Infowars.com, report NBC edits video to frame veterans. We know they deceive people, but we can't just get to where we're accustomed to it and just accept that they're certified liars engaged in information warfare operations against the American people. We need to stand up against it and speak out. And here's another article that came out from Business Insider. U.S. government funding domestic propaganda officially hits the airwaves, run by the Pentagon against the American people today. It's been running for decades, but now they are using lies on us. Well, Rachel Maddow and people like the CIA captain over there, what is he, the heir to the Astor fortune, Anderson Cooper. I mean, it came out in 1999 that CNN was really a CIA front run by the CIA. I mean, that's what they're there for, to get your kids on serotonin reuptake inhibitors. They're there to get GMO into you. They're there to have you go along with having your bank account looted by foreign banks. I mean, this is a foreign takeover. Either accept it or become total, resistors and say no to the New World Order. And if you just joined us, the EBT system is run by Chase. They're never getting rid of it. They're only terrorizing everybody to accept the debt increase, which just happened up until February, the middle of February. Government continues to run the parts of it they were shutting down now until later in January, January 7th. But you'll still have grandstanding and pity parties by all of the park rangers and people that are actually getting extra overtime to harass people they catch in and around the parks. I mean, it's just going to continue until they're all shut down. They're paid double wages to live on the national parks themselves. They've actually done that in many areas. That's their final plan. Continuing as parasites. Crisis, USDA orders states to withhold electronic food stamps. And it looks like that's still going ahead. At Fort Hood, role players help train troops for riot control in America. After a dozen years of training to go into combat zones filled with enemy combatants, some soldiers are now training to manage themselves in peaceful situations involving civilians. Isn't that just cute? Yeah, they're all getting training to go up against the American people, and that's out of KDLH News at Fort Hood. And game changer, Swiss banks are gearing up to not let anybody basically use them if they're in a foreign country, and to let everybody know who's depositing what. Unless you're a billionaire socialist, then you are tax exempt and above the law, a.k.a. the French socialist. So that's some of the news on that front. And here is the London Telegraph. The sun is setting on dollar supremacy, and with it, American power. No matter how many debt increases they do. They've now bankrupted us, and the globalists will move on to the next country. Fitch puts U.S. credit rating under review for downgrade because they didn't capitulate to the bankers fast enough, just like Greece. And the more you capitulate, the worse things get. But so what? The public doesn't care. There's a football game on today. So that's just some of the news on that front. But the biggest news of the day, I've got to say, is Chase Bank sending letters to their customers. We have copies of them up there. We've called them. It's real letters saying no foreign wire transfers. Anybody doing, even moderate-sized businesses doing foreign wire transfers. I wire money to Paul Watson every month as a contractor. He's a contractor, not an employee over in the UK. I'm not doing wires with Chase, but the whole point is that they wouldn't be doing that unless it's going to be system-wide. And I mean, that is so draconian. You can even do foreign wire transfers if you live in like places like Iran. I mean, I think North Korea, you can't do them. So, I mean, this is insane. And they're going to limit, well, how much cash you can get out. So it's official. They run the whole show. They run America. Chase is the jewel in the crown of the foreign banks that run America and set up the Federal Reserve 100 years ago on December 23rd. 100 years of the shareholders of J.P. Morgan Chase, now merged, J.P. Morgan and Chase were involved at the time, running this country directly into the ground. And they ran the takeover of Ireland and the takeover of Greece, the takeover of everybody else. Absolutely incredible article. I mean, here's an example. Crisis. USDA orders states to withhold electronic food stamps. That's important, but it has 919 comments. Look at Chase Bank limits cash withdrawals, bans international transfers, 176. That should have 1 million comments. People should be freaking out over what that means. And we have Watson on the Nightly News to break that down? Okay, good. And then report, NBC edits video to frame veterans. That just went up. That is so incredibly important. And you'll be like, well, I already know that. I already know they're liars. Well, your friends and family don't know that. And then Fort Hood gears up for financial collapse. Julie Wilson has that new report, just went up seconds ago as I hit refresh. We don't have automatic refresh on Infowars.com, so be sure and refresh it yourself. By the way, tell IT, I want it to automatically refresh every hour. I mean, that needs to be done. Just in case people, have it sitting there and forget to refresh it as their homepage. It's important. Because I forget it all the time at home, and then something big breaks. So let's put every 1 hour refresh on there. Okay, and then moving right along here, I wanted to get pharmacist Ben Fuchs on about a host of medical issues that are being announced and big developments that are taking place, because he's very informative. And from all of my deep research, he's one of the most informed people out there that concurs with the analysis of people like, Dr. Group that comes on the show and Mike Adams and others. And we're going to be discussing, different things with him about that in a moment. But I wanted to first bring up a Fox News report, BPA could cause miscarriages. Because for me, there's a lot of stuff we can't do about the overall New World Order and things like that. But we can start filtering our water. We can start trying to eat less and less GMO and finally get off of it. We can start gardening. We can start eating healthier. We can start mild exercise or more if you've already started. I'm just saying you don't have to become Superman overnight. Taking care of ourselves is how we defeat the globalists. They want to hurt us. They want to dumb us down. They're on record. So get off the GMO, get off the bisphenol A, get off the chemicals, the biologicals, protect your thyroid from the radiologicals, things like that. But one of the biggest things you can do is bisphenol A. When I first learned that they had deals back in the 50s to pick out of thousands of different combinations of plastic, a type that leached estrogen to feminize men, to hyperfeminize women, giving them breast cancer, accelerating the aging of their breast and other sexual tissues, causing these cysts to form very quick that an 85-year-old woman would have. Instead, you're 20 and you get them. It is chemical warfare. John P. Holdren talks about it in Eco-Science, written in the year I was born, 1974. They're very proud of what they've done. And since I've been talking about it, and others have, since I learned of it, now mothers are getting it, glass for their children. People are getting away from it more and more. But still, it's in a lot of things. And I wanted to just get a few minutes with pharmacist Ben Fuchs joining us, also syndicated radio host here on the GCN Radio Network. I wanted to get his take on this because now it's becoming more and more mainstream, but we can't get it banned when it's like glyphosate in the water supply, which also fries your endocrine systems on record. How bad is this stuff? Because the studies, CNN's also reporting on it, the studies are on record that it is massively increasing multiple-fold miscarriages in women by messing up their hormones. A lot of compounding pharmacies, as I've heard you talk about, and I've heard local ones talk about it on the radio. They have a local show, one of the biggest ones, People's Pharmacy. The fact that they just now put women on compounded herb-based hormones so they don't lose the baby. They're just recommending it out of hand because so many women are basically taking the statistical abortion pill. It might as well be RU-486 That's really what this is. Statistically, it's making sure that, about a third of the women have miscarriages that shouldn't. It's another loving gift from the liberals, the trendies. So pharmacist Ben Fuchs, what can you say to us about BPA and other estrogen mimickers and just how bad this is?
Well, you hit the nail on the head, actually. Estrogen is the key word. And while most folks know that estrogen is being a feminizing hormone, and indeed it is, and like you say, it feminizes men and hyper-feminizes women. That's what breast cysts are, and that's what breast tumors are. But even more importantly, estrogen is a anti-fertility substance. It shuts down fertility.
That's what you take so that you can't get pregnant.
Yes, it's an element of birth control. It's a birth control pill. Bisphenol A is birth control. It's population control. It's chemical warfare, as you said. And to make matters worse, estrogen is a stress hormone. It shuts down the immune system. It maximizes the body's, it accelerates the body's response to stress. It induces cancer. It's on the FDA's known to cause cancer list. Why would any industrial operation want to put a toxin, a well-recognized toxin that suppresses fertility, that causes stress, that suppresses the immune system, that gender benders, that creates, like you say, feminized men and hyper-feminized women? Why would they ever put that in some kind of industrially produced and consumer product? Well, the way I look at it, Alex, is it's a clear example of how we are manipulated, of how our chemistry is manipulated for nefarious purposes.
And so the real revolution is to take control of your chemistry again, and I'm doing that right now.
You hit that's exactly what I was about to say. We need to understand how to control our chemistry. For example, iodine, one of the best ways to protect yourself from cancer, one of the best ways to protect yourself from breast cancer and from breast cysts is to make sure that you got enough iodine. Iodine is very difficult to find in the diet, and thus the importance of supplemental iodine.
And I know today I wanted to get you on to talk about iodine because all the experts are just lining up on the fact that iodine, I want to talk about the best types of iodine, nascent versus others. I want to talk about some of the InfoWarsHealth.com longevity systems that have wide spectrum iodines in them because we've sold out of my Survival Shield nascent iodine. People can back order that at InfoWarsLife.com. But there are other naturally occurring ones like the monophyllin we sell at InfoWarsStore.com. I want to know about what is available at InfoWarsHealth.com because as people figure this out, it's all selling out. And then move into other top health news with pharmacist Ben Fuchs when we come back. But we've got to take control of our chemistry. That's what we're doing against the globalists. By the way, folks, if you go to InfoWarsLife.com, you can order the nascent atomic pure iodine that Dr. Group and others, set up front is the very best. And I've been taking it for 2 months and just had incredible response. But if there are other forms of iodine, pharmacist Ben Fuchs, explain to me why iodine is so important. And then also some of the other minerals and things I'm told you need to take with it to have it actually work properly. I've also been detoxing while I've been on it in ways I've never experienced. Just for me personally, and Dr. Group said this would happen, mental clarity, energy, you name it. But I've also been detoxifying some. I mean, what's the difference between nascent iodine and the other iodines that are out there?
Nascent iodine is electrified iodine. Technically, it's called atomic iodine. Minerals are usually complexed with other substances, or sometimes they're complexed with themselves. What makes nascent iodine so neat is the fact that all of the electrical energy is kept on the iodine atom. The electrical energy is not spread across iodine atoms or across potassium as it is in Lugol solution and some of the other iodine supplements. With nascent iodine, you get an electrified iodine atom. And what that means is the body sucks up nascent iodine really rapidly. It doesn't have to metabolize it or break it down the way it does when you take a potassium iodide product like Lugol solution. And Lugol solution is still a good form of iodide, but it doesn't even come close to the electrified version, the nascent iodine version.
Well, also, the electrified tastes good compared to the other ones.
Well, you're getting electrical activity. You're getting the Lugol solution tastes awful, absolutely hideous. But with nascent iodine, you're getting a cleaner form of iodine than you would be getting if you use the Lugol solution. But the neatest thing about the nascent iodine is the fact that it's bioavailable. And as you know, Alex, when it comes to nutrition, it's not what you're taking, it's what your body is using. And with nascent iodine, you're maximizing what we call bioavailability, and that makes it the most superior form of iodine. Now, there's other forms of iodine, of course. I've talked on this program a lot, and I talk on my program a lot about Lugol solution, We've talked in the past about a product called iodoral. There's seaweed. There's various ways that you can get iodine, but to make absolutely sure that you're getting this essential mineral, in my opinion, you should be using the nascent iodine. And you said something very interesting. Most people don't realize that iodine is an important brain element. It's important for the developing brain, and it's important for the adult brain as well. And so the mental clarity that you get, the sense of the mental sense of well-being that you get, these are very common benefits of iodine that people don't talk a lot about.
And meanwhile, when the government actually cared about us, they put iodine in the salt. Now they take it out and put fluoride in the water. The opposite. Explain what that does. This is all on purpose.
Yeah, well, that's a very good point. You see, if you look at the periodic table, you'll find that the periodic table of elements is divided up into columns. And all of the columns, all of the substances in each column are related to each other. Well, in the second to last column, this is called the halogen column, you've got four elements that are very similar to each other. One is iodine, another is bromine, another is fluoride, and another is chloride. And the body gets confused. The body would rather have iodine, but if there's no iodine, it's going to take in whatever it can take. So if there's a lack of iodine under a circumstance where there's not enough iodine, the body's going to take in fluoride. The body's going to take in chloride or chlorine. The body's going to take in bromine as well. And you end up with brominosis. You end up with fluoride deposits in the pineal gland. You end up with weaker bone. You can end up with chlorine toxicity. All of this can be counteracted by supplementing with iodine. And if you don't supplement with iodine, if you don't have iodine, you run higher risks of brominosis and toxicity from fluoride as well as from chlorine as well. So if you look at the periodic table, that's all you need to know. Look at the column, you'll see iodine, and then you'll see fluoride, and then you'll see bromine, and then you'll see chlorine. 3 toxins, 1 nutritional element. You want to make sure that you're getting that nutritional element. So
nascent iodine isn't just good for you, it's a survival shield.
Not only is it a survival shield, it's anti-fluoride, it's anti-bromine, it protects your pineal gland. In addition to all these benefits that we're talking about, it protects the most important gland in the body, the pineal gland, which regulates everything. Alex, if you wanted to destroy a culture, if you wanted to destroy a civilization, if you wanted to destroy a species, you could do no better job than to target the pineal gland, which is exactly what fluoride in the water does, not to mention chlorine in the water, not to mention bromine in flour and in Mountain Dew and soda pop and in plastics, etc. We have created this environment where we are immersed, saturated in toxicity.
And then what's crazy is we do a lot of bad stuff on our own, but the establishment is actually doing a lot of this on purpose to politically control us. And then you research them, whether it's the communist Chinese leaders or the European leaders or the U.S. leaders, they're all obsessed with everything you're saying, pharmacist Ben Fuchs. They're all on the nascent iodine. They're all eating the non-GMO food. They're all purifying their water. They know exactly what they're doing. I want to come back and talk more about iodine deficiency during pregnancy may adversely affect children's mental development. I've got some of the big medical studies here. We're giving you the big secrets, folks. They don't want you to know with pharmacist Ben Fuchs. We'll give you his website when we come back as well. If you go to InfoWarsHealth.com, you can sign up there and get 10% discounts. You can get free shipping when you sign up for auto ship. You can pay $10 and get big discounts, and it also supports the broadcast. Ancient Legacies Oceans Gold, 60 tablets, caplets from Longevity at InfoWarsHealth.com. Features a proprietary blend of marine botanicals, a whole wide spectrum of coenzyme Q10 to support healthy thyroid, regular heartbeat, normal weight, mood stabilization, hormone levels, supplement facts, and then it goes through all of it there on the site from Longevity at InfoWarsHealth.com. And yes, I'm selling you stuff here. I sell high-quality ProPure water filters to fund our operation that I personally use for my family that cut out massive amounts of the garbage that's in the water for my children and my family. I use the Longevity products at InfoWarsHealth.com. With a doctor group, went out and found the very best nascent iodine for survival shield at InfoWarsLife.com. That's what we do here. But separately, like any iodine, as you know, that I guess is in the salt you can still buy where they add it, but they don't put it in there, I guess, by law now. I would guess from Pharmacist Fuchs is better than the other 3 things on the periodic table that we know are bad, like the chloride and the fluoride and the rest of it, going in and filling these organs and these glands that need the thyroid, to operate and need it to have iodine to do that. But you're the expert, pharmacist Ben Fuchs, brightsideben.com. is, of course, your syndicated radio show website, brightsideben.com. Continue to get into, really the key here, why iodine. Well, I mean, answer my question. If people can't get our super nascent iodine, if people and the other stuff out there, I've tried to find other stuff, believe me, to fill the orders. It's just no good. I can't sell it. I don't think it's real nascent iodine. I'm sorry. It tastes like rocket fuel. This stuff tastes great. And no one else seems to have it. It's like a lost art, I'm told. So where do people else get this naturally? I mean, I'm told that the certain types of the seaweed that are in the ancient legacy oceans, that they do uptake and then metabolize and have the good iodine. Explain to me what type this is and where people can get it if they can't get nascent iodine.
Well, the big problem with iodine, Alex, is it's not a terrestrial mineral. It's an ocean mineral. So the sources of iodine, the best sources of iodine are ocean products, seaweed and seafood. But of course, we know that seafood has got the mercury in it, so you got to be a little bit careful. But seaweed has a really neat property in that it can purify toxins. So when you eat seaweed products, ocean vegetation products, use seaweed supplements, you get a minimal amount of toxicity and you get a good amount of iodine. And I've been talking about eating seaweed for a long time. In addition, Celtic sea salt and ocean salts tend to be better sources of iodine than iodized salt. You know, the form of iodine they put in iodized salt is not an absorbable form, and then you've got to deal with excipients and flow agents and all of the other things they put into the salt, the non-nutritional substances that they put into salt. If you use something like...
Okay, so let's be specific. When you go to the store, you want organic. People say, well, salts can be organic anyways. No, it can actually be mixed with things that aren't organic. What type do you need? Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt. There's actually hundreds of different gourmet salts, but look for Celtic sea salt and look for a Himalayan salt. Here's something neat about salt. It's kind of similar to some of the benefits that you get with iodine. Iodine is also very important for the body's stress gland, the adrenal glands. In fact, all salt is important for the adrenal glands. And one of the reasons why we crave salt so much is because our adrenal glands are fried because we're under so much stress. So when you're under a lot of stress, you're going to find yourself craving salt. And what does the doctor tell you? Stay away from salt. Watch your salt intake. So people are on these low salt diets. That not only exacerbates problems with stress, it not only reduces the body's stress response, but it induces these terrible salt cravings that everybody has. I mean, you cannot go without salt. You may try to if your doctor tells you, but you're going to find yourself gravitating towards salty foods. So what you do is you act preemptively. You get yourself some Celtic sea salt or some Himalayan salt or even any good mineral product that can help provide some salts for the adrenal glands, and you drink salt water. And you don't drink a lot of it, you just drink just enough until your salt cravings disappear. And what you'll find is you have better adrenal gland functioning, which means more energy, which means a better ability to respond to stress. And it also means the manufacturing of fertility and anti-aging and growth hormones. These are the kinds of strategies that the medical model is promoting that shut down our ability to thrive. Almost everything you hear from the mainstream medical model is almost intentionally designed to keep us from thriving. I was about to say, you know, I've been doing research the last few years trying to get back in shape from being totally unhealthy for years and just not caring about myself and figuring they'd kill me anyway, so why bother? I've been busy, you know, trying to lose 40, 50 pounds, lost most of it to get back in shape. It's really hard to get back in shape once you've gotten out of it. And I talked to you and so many other experts, and I said, well, what's an herb, what's a vitamin, what's a mineral that, say, has natural growth hormone or will boost my natural testosterone to help me exercise more? And you said iodine. Iodine. It will then regulate the thyroid and other glands and allow you to release the stuff you need. And indeed, that's happened. My problem is I'm not even lifting weights except for once a week, really light reps. I'm trying to get small, not big. And instead, I've lost some weight. But with my clothes off, I mean, you know, it looks like I'm trying to be a bodybuilder or something. That's not what I want. So what do I need to do, Pharmacist Ben Fuchs? Because I do still eat like a pig. I guess, yeah.
You can't help getting ripped. That's going to happen, Alex. You're just going to have to wear long sleeve shirts, buddy. Because once you start to lose body fat and once you start to replace that body fat with muscle mass, you're just going to get ripped. You know, that's just one of the things that happens. And as you say, the iodine regulates the thyroid.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, this iodine is like anabolic steroids or something. I mean, I'm literally turning into a gorilla. And I go in and lift weights now, and it's just like, it's unbelievable. I feel like I'm 18.
You're fueling your thyroid. Your thyroid, next to your pituitary or your pineal gland, your thyroid may be the most important gland in your body. It regulates every single cell in the body. And by the way, we were talking about the adrenal glands. There's a very important link between the adrenal glands and the thyroid. Once your adrenal glands are stressed out, once you're maxing out with adrenal hormones and your adrenal glands are trying to deal with your stressed out life, over time, the thyroid will gradually slow down. And this is one of the reasons why stress makes you gain weight. This is one of the reasons why hypothyroidism is such an epidemic, and making sure that you're getting enough iodine. And by the way, selenium and iodine work together to help fuel the thyroid. This is one of the reasons why once you start taking in these supplements that help the thyroid, you'll lose weight, you'll gain more muscle mass, not to mention the fact that you're going to feel better and have more energy as well. And by the way, there's something called fluoride fatigue, which is caused by excess ingestion of fluoride, affecting the thyroid and causing hypothyroidism and a sluggishness. Once you start taking in iodine, your bodies will start to absorb less fluoride, and once again, you'll have better thyroid functioning, and you'll have more muscle mass, more energy, better immunity, more clarity of thinking, as well as weight loss.
Simply incredible. And again, this power structure knows this. I mean, being a pharmacist, being a successful compounding pharmacist, a guy that has national lines of cosmetics, you name it. You don't brag about yourself, but you're very successful, really smart guy. I mean, interviewing you the last 4 or 5 years, I know more and more you've researched the political more, and I've sent you documents where they admit all this stuff, but this is a conscious program. Putting the bisphenol A in, removing even the, the junky iodine, putting in the fluoride, putting the fluoride in as an additive to most of the processed foods. It levels thousands of times above the water level. I mean, this is murdering people.
Alex, you know as well as I know, who were the first people to put fluoride in the water? What was the first country to start using fluoride?
The communists, Russians, and then the Nazis.
Right? Exactly. And this is the kind of stuff that we're putting in our water here in this country you can actually go to the drugstore and get fluoridated water for your baby. Nursing water, they call it, where you drown your baby's brain in fluoride. As if it's not, they can't wait until we're adults and we're drinking tap water. Now you can fluoridate your baby. And by the way, as a prescription drug, fluoride is limited to 2.2 milligram doses, daily doses. You get far more than that if you drink half a gallon of water, a gallon of water.
Oh, yeah,
a day.
we're being forcibly medicated, and the water is nothing. They spray it on the crops as one of the main pesticides.
That's another one.
And due to lawsuits, last year they announced they're phasing it out as an illegal pesticide by 2014.
You're getting, when you eat vegetables, the vegetables are saturated in fluoridated water, tap water, not to mention all the other crap that's in the tap water. So you can't even eat vegetables safely. Even, by the way, organic vegetables can have this problem.
But Nation Iodine blocks it.
That's right. That's right. There is so many reasons to get on this Nation Iodine as a supplement, as a daily supplement every single day. From protection from bromine and chlorine and fluoride, to protection for the thyroid, to protection for the various glands in the body.
What do I take it with again?
Selenium. Selenium and iodine work together, especially for the thyroid. And that's one that Dr. Wallach's been talking about for many, many years. Selenium is a super, super incredibly important mineral, and one that many of us are deficient in. It's important for protection from cancer, important for protection from heart disease. It's an important component of something called glutathione, which is your body's major cancer fighter. Selenium has got so many wonderful benefits. It's active in very, very small amounts, and even being active in small amounts, many people are deficient in selenium. Always take iodine and selenium together. They work together for the thyroid.
By the way, I had some of my friends' family over Sunday night for a dinner party, and I didn't know that they'd signed up under InfoWarsTeam.com or members at InfoWarsHealth.com for 2 years. And, I mean, this is a true story. And they said they'd come on the show, and they're sitting there, my wife made dinner, we're eating, and they go, listen, my wife couldn't even get out of bed with the arthritis she was having, the rheumatoid arthritis, and that she got on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the Alex Pack and the FX system and the joint things that Dr. Wallach recommended at InfoWars Health, and that within 6 months it was almost all gone, and now it's gone. It's gone. Now she doesn't have the arthritis anymore, and her hands were even giant and swole up, and now that's almost all gone away. And again, it's just incredible that this is more people telling me this and saying this is incredible. And I mean, I know it's good for you, but I can't believe how good just basic stuff is.
Yeah, it's incredible. And, I'm a pharmacist, and I'm very careful about the things I recommend and the things that I promote. And I'm telling you, Alex, when I see the kind of responses that people get when they start a nutritional supplement program, they get on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, they get on some of these things that we talk about on the program, it blows me away, and I can't shut my mouth. It would not be fair of me as a healthcare professional to not tell people about the benefits of these things, to not tell people about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And I don't like being a salesperson. I don't feel comfortable being a salesperson. I'm a healthcare professional. But as a healthcare professional, I have a sacred duty to tell people about things that I see work and that I know work and that have a theoretical basis as well as a clinical basis for working. And so when I talk about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine or nascent iodine or selenium or the longevity products, I'm telling you this because I know the stuff works, and as panacea and incredible sounding as it is a panacea, and it is incredible. And I say on my radio show every day, you're going to think it's a miracle, but it's not a miracle. It's just the way the body works.
Now, what about the nascent iodine detox? I've been on about a month and a half or so, and was just so much energy, super aggressive, losing weight, still eating like a pig, all this stuff. But then about the last week, I still have a lot of energy, but I am noticing, I don't want to go into what a detox is like, but you know, there's different ways you detox your skin, other ways. I'm really detoxing now. And Dr. Group was saying maybe I want to slow down. I mean, I'm taking the recommended dose, you know, that the establishment recommends, but maybe I should slow down for a while because it does feel like I have a hangover sometimes in the morning now.
Make sure you're doing other nutrients that support detox. And one of the most important nutrients isn't really a nutrient at all, but it's water. Drinking more water will help you flush out toxicity. Also, there's a very important relationship between vitamin C and iodine. Vitamin C can help you retain iodine much more effectively, and vitamin C has some wonderful detox properties as well. And this is one of the neat reasons, this is one of the most important reasons and the neatest things about getting on a supplement program, Alex, a well-balanced program. All the individual nutrients have very interesting properties, iodine for the thyroid and vitamin C for immunity and selenium for the heart and for making glutathione. But what you really want to focus on is getting on an entire program, a well-balanced program that provides you with all 90 essential nutrients. Each one has its own importance.
And that's why Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 Organic is so important, because it's all right there.
Exactly.
And then you can supplement on top of that. So obviously, I forgot. I need to take selenium. Now, what do I do if from fluoride most of my life until I woke up to it has kind of calcified in my thyroid, in my pineal? Is it true that nascent iodine, long-term, if it's the proper type, can actually help you begin to actually slough some of that out?
Absolutely. Once your body gets the good stuff, Alex, it doesn't take the bad stuff. It loses the bad stuff. Once you start taking iodine, the fluoride will drop off, the bromine will drop off, the calcium, which is in response to the fluoride, will start to drop off as well. You can also use other chelating nutrients. Vitamin C, chelating means magnetically attract, and there's nutrients that will magnetically attract fluoride out of your body. Selenium is a wonderful chelating agent that can magnetically attract fluoride out of your body. Vitamin C is tremendously chelating. It can help attract fluoride out of your body. There's something called N-acetylcysteine, NAC, which is tremendously, maybe the most important chelating agent you could ever use. You can use N-acetylcysteine. By the way, N-acetylcysteine is great for hangovers. It's great for any toxicity in the body. You can use that on a regular basis. Sulfur has got some tremendous chelating properties, things like MSM sulfur, and you can, of course, find sulfur in fresh vegetables, and fresh fruits and vegetables. You want to make sure you're pounding your body with these chelating agents as well as antioxidants. Vitamin E, by the way, works together with selenium and vitamin A, and something called vitamin C. Vitamin C, vitamin E, and selenium all work together, as well as something called alpha lipoic acid, which you don't hear very much about. You don't hear hardly anything about alpha lipoic acid, but it's got some tremendous chelating properties. So pound yourself with these chelating agents, and you'll magnetically pull that fluoride out of your body, and you'll support the work that the iodine is doing to dump fluoride off of the pineal gland.
So literally, things like nascent iodine, from what I've heard from you and others, they go around electrically charged and grab the fluoride and things and drag it out of your body.
It's all about the electricity, Alex. Nascent iodine is electrified iodine. And anytime you electrify a nutrient, you improve the body's ability to utilize it.
Incredible. I want to come back and ask you about politics and what's happening in the world. I want to start getting into that after the break. But look at this. Iodine deficiency during pregnancy may adversely affect children's mental development. And that's out of the medical press. And then they link through to a new study on that. But, I mean, that was in the Lancet Medical Journal. I mean, they've known this forever. I read about 100 years ago in England where they were saying kids had low IQ from not enough iodine. That's why they started putting it in the salt. I mean, they're always acting like they just discovered this.
They were using nascent iodine 100 years ago or close to 100 years ago. We've known about the importance of nascent iodine as well. You guys are right on top of it, Alex. That whole nascent iodine thing, you are right on top of it, and jumping on nascent iodine is one of the smartest things you could do.
Well, no, I mean, you're the one told me get on nascent iodine. Was it 6 months, a year ago? I remember I called you up and I said, what is a good supplement, to naturally give more energy and boost my thyroid? And you said nascent iodine. And then I tried a bunch. They were so horrible tasting and didn't do anything. And then I ran into Dr. Group. And, man, this stuff's unbelievable. The problem is we can't make enough of it. So, but I've got mine, and that's what matters. We'll be right back, my friend. I want to get into the politics, the shutdown that now supposedly ended today, and so much more. But, folks, if you want to get it back ordered, it comes in about 2 weeks. Supposed to be 3 weeks out. Survival Shield, Nascent Iodine, InfoWars Life. And I dare you, try other people's and then get this. This isn't hype. Night and day. Night and day. Well, there's the headline, top left-hand corner of DrudgeReport.com. People ask why DrudgeReport.com is the #1 news website in the world. And it's because Matt Drudge knows what's important news. And we have the letter, and we've made calls, and they're not denying that it's a real letter. And I happen to have a reporter. All my other reporters are busy. My wife used to do reporting for us many years ago. My wife is actually going to Chase Bank right now. In fact, I think she's there now to try to set up a bank account as a test and to try to a business account and get this literature that we cannot make foreign wire transfers and restrict money. So we'll have that double devil documented, as they say, in the next 20 minutes or so. And this is so big, I think I'm going to go over there. I mean, I'll just go on over my iPhone, shoot the report myself. The reporter's doing a great job. They're all nailed down to other stuff right now. That's why I need to hire more people. That's why it's great when you get the great products at InfoWarsHealth.com and places like that. When, once a month or so we do a little plug for this stuff. That's how we fund our operation. I go out and find great stuff. My incredible stressful life, working 18 hours a day many days. And I couldn't have done this without pharmacist Ben Fuchs advising me the last 4 years, with people like Dr. Group, people like Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. And it is exciting, because if I'd have known this when I was young, before I tore myself up and ate like a pig and drank and, did all the stuff I did for 12 years, I mean, it was just amazing. If I'd have known this when I was playing football and was in great shape, I mean, this stuff is dynamic. But I didn't mean to go off into a rant about health stuff. Let me ask, Ben, you're a smart guy, business owner in your own right, big compounding pharmacy in Colorado. What do you make of Obamacare, the shutdown, all the preparations for urban warfare? I mean, I think they're purposefully trying to wreck the country. What do you think's happening?
They want us scared, Alex. They want us running. They want us to be chicken little. The fact of the matter is that you don't do your best work when you're scared. You cannot heal. You cannot grow. You cannot thrive. Your brain shrinks when you're in fear. That's what they're looking for, is to have people freaked out. And that's why it's so important to take control of your life. Alex, the last thing you ever want to have to do is go to an Obamacare doctor. Even doctors will tell you that. Even doctors are going to tell you that you don't want to go to an Obamacare physician. Once we have government-mandated medical care where the government works off a formulary and you pick your, there's a menu of treatments or a menu of pharmaceuticals, it's all over. Then they have complete control over your body. And this is why it's so important to be proactive, to get yourself on a supplement program, to learn how to hack into your appetite, your cravings for foods, use salt, use oils, use protein. All of these will allow you to wean yourself off of the corporate swill. The last thing you ever want to do is participate in government-mandated health care or to eat corporate-inspired food. And the best way to protect yourself from all of this, Alex, the way I look at it, is to, number one, make sure you're getting on a good nutritional supplement program. And number two, take control of your mind. Take control of your emotions and your feelings. Don't buy in to the fear tactics of government shutdown and all the things that they want you to think. Don't buy into it. Get yourself on a good nutritional supplement program. Get yourself on an exercise program. Read good books. Read spiritual books. Access some kind of spirituality in your life. Take control of your existence. That's the best thing you can do, and that's the best protection you can have, the way I look at it.
And that's it. Tune out of the mainstream TV. Really reconnect with nature. Just get centered.
Exactly.
There's a whole universe out there, not just these globalist crooks that want to make themselves the center of everything. Just like the establishment medical system. Begin to research and then control your own chemical, electrochemical biology, your own chemistry, that's the last thing they want. Look at Codex Alimentarius. I want to come back in overdrive. I've been researching that. That's really run by private corporations, and they're really on the verge of banning vitamins and minerals when we come back. Yeah, this is guaranteed to get national attention now. With two different. Paul Watson's been adding to his story now that it's gone up on Drudge. No, three different Chase banks are now, we have three different letters saying to customers, and my wife's been calling, I need to call her and see if it's triple confirmed, that yes, folks, Chase Manhattan is telling people they can't wire money out of the country or take cash out. Oh, my goodness. November 17th. This is Twilight Zone if people realize how horrible that news is. I want to shift gears, though, back to Ben Fuchs. And what we were just talking about with pharmacist Ben Fuchs, Brightside Ben. He's got an hour-long show every day, getting picked up by a lot of stations right before mine on GCN, GCNlive.com, BrightsideBen.com. He joins us. We only got about 4 minutes left, Ben. I'm pretty shook up right now with this banking thing. But again, this is something we could take control of for now. The problem is under the big pharma, as you know, writing, and I've been actually watching. I got addicted to this. I've probably watched, let's not exaggerate, 30 hours of Codex Alimentarius voting and meetings going back about 6-7 years on the internet that I've seen from the UN. And I didn't know. It is big pharma, and they want it banned where you can't even buy vitamin C in a bottle. I thought it was just lowered it down like some European countries have done to nothing. They really are very close. People don't know this, to like not even letting you get vitamin D in mass. I mean, these people are out of control.
Why do you think, Alex? Why do you think they're so hell-bent on keeping people from having vitamins? You know, when you come right down to it, Alex, we are vitamins. We are minerals. We are protein and carbohydrates and fat.
And they want to sell all their artificial garbage that's toxic. They don't want us having what we are.
They want to poison the environment, poison the water, poison the food, and then deprive us of what we need to protect us from the poison. You know, it's like a 1-2 punch. And I'm telling you, Alex, as long as we have the ability to buy nutrients, this is something people want to take advantage of. Whatever kind of supplements you want to start taking advantage of this right away. You want to start taking advantage of this today. Get yourself on a supplement program. Start to use macronutrition, meaning protein and essential fatty acids, and making sure you're staying away from corporate swill, making sure you're restricting your intake of refined foods and refined carbohydrates. You know, these are things that we can do today, and these are things we should be doing today. And the upside of all of this, Alex, is you're going to feel better. You're going to be more resistant to disease. You're going to be more resistant to the poison that's in the water and in the atmosphere and the environment. And you know what, Alex? It's a friggin' no-brainer. I don't know what kind of downside people can see to getting on a good, solid nutritional supplement program and protecting themselves from these kinds of toxins and toxicity that's in our environment.
You said it. Well, if folks can't get the high-quality nascent iodine at InfoWarsLife.com, I mean, they can pre-order it. We sold out. More is coming in a few weeks. So it's like 3 weeks out after we ship it to people. Victims of our own success, but it really is amazing. The monofilin, I got a lot of energy out of that. Nothing compared, obviously, to the nascent iodine, the proper type. There's obviously the InfoWars health type put out by Longevity. That's a wide spectrum of sea plants. Ancient Legacy, I'm told, is pretty powerful. What else would you find over at InfoWarsHealth.com?
The most important is the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the essential fatty acids, the ultimate EFAs, the digestive enzymes. You know, we talk about the importance of digestive enzymes for protecting your body from bisphenol A. One of the best ways that you can protect yourself from toxicity and plastics and in the environment is to improve your body's ability to clear these toxins out. And one of the most important strategies for clearing out toxins is bile. B-I-L-E, bile, that stuff that's made in the liver that nobody ever talks about, is one of the most important detoxifying substances in your body, and you get the precursors to bile in the ultimate enzymes from Longevity. Very underappreciated product.
And I was also reading, and tell me if I interpreted this wrong, that the liver also almost vomits out its toxins in the bile to be flushed out.
That's exactly right. And keeping your liver, taking care of your liver is also very important. By the way, bisphenol A is almost specific for toxing out the liver.
It's incredible. All right, Brightside Ben. Folks will be tuning in, I know, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central, GCNlive.com. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you. God bless.
We'll have more tonight on the Chase situation, 7 o'clock.